Hey, Adam. Scott. Adam Moyer. Best meat for dehydration is always beef. Always. And it doesn't matter what cut it is. You don't have to have like super positive, like grade A and all this. You can buy like the cheapest cuts of beef. And I just made actually 3 days worth of beef, dried beef, and had some for breakfast today. It's magnificent. Jeff Eldred, where's your mask? Look, Karen, that's pretty funny. Right now, my favorite pipe tobacco is Haunted Bookshop. That's what I'm actually going to be firing up real soon. Oh, Adam, okay, you're Marley. Oh, yeah, Adam, you communicate with me. Yeah, on Instagram, which I got banned from. This is Haunted Bookshop. It's really, really nice. 20-piece. Recent video on castration. Yeah, man. You know, there were what they call the early desert fathers, and one of the guys' name was Origen, Origen. Literally cut his testicles off because he had a lust problem. The only problem was after he cut his balls off, he found that he still lusted. So it tells you that lust is here, not down in your loins. JNNX wants to join. I don't take anonymous people on this show. You either show your face or you can't be on the show. That's just the way it is. Simple as that. Oh, you're in Allentown, Adam. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. This is a talk radio night. What I did was when I come live like this, what I want to do is I want to be like the old-fashioned talk radio before it was hijacked by politics. And I'm just so tired of, well, after years of listening to talk radio, I'm sick of it. Sick of it. And I remember when talk radio was people just talking about their day, about concepts, about books, and so forth. And that just makes it's friendlier. I don't want to get stressed out with talking about politics the whole time. So, well, there's John Hoover.
Hola. Hey, George.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, just peachy keen here in Austin.
Cool. Hold on, JNNX. Well, you can just listen, but if you want to join JNNX, you really need to. I'm asking people to show their face. I'm not trying to be a Nazi or anything like that. It's just that there's so much anonymity and keyboard warriors out there that are so brave, and you can say, a lot of people are much braver when you can't see their face and don't know who they are, but King Boom, I'm out in the shed right now, so I'm going 100% on I'm not even on Wi-Fi. I'm going through like the Verizon network. So that's the story there. I'm not in my home. That's why there's it might seem less than perfect at this point because I'm doing everything on my phone, on my laptop. And my phone is on a tripod in front of me. So that's what's happening. If anyone's going to join us, I want you to if anyone's going to join, I want to see live faces, not emojis or anime cartoons or anything like that. It just kind of shows me that you're real. And there's Redonkulous. How are you, sir?
What's up?
Hey, good to see you, man. Good to see
What's going on here?
What are you doing on this? What are you doing on a Saturday night?
Well, I got a pretty wicked cold, and I don't want to, basically infect anyone. So I'm just kind of chilling out, doing my own thing.
Yeah. I do the same
You know,
thing.
I
Like if I have an appointment somewhere and I'm not feeling well, I will stay home just so I don't get the other people sick. You know, when I was working in barber
well,
shops, I'd have somebody sit in a chair and they're coughing and gagging, and I'm like, dude, why did you even bother to come in?
yep. I'm trying to avoid that. Like, I flew back from Vegas, and then a couple days later, I had a wicked cold. So
Oh wow.
I'm just trying to make sure. If it's anything really super nasty, I don't spread it to anyone else. So I'm chilling out here for about a week and a half.
That's good. That's good. Hey, Terrence, the other fella on this is John Hoover, who worked for the
Attorney General.
Attorney General in Texas and has got some great FBI stories and
Oh
all
yeah.
kinds of. And what's interesting is he used to be what do you call it? Like a deep sea diver in
I
the
was a
North Sea
commercial.
or something.
Yeah, I was a commercial diver out on the rigs in the North Sea. My misspent youth.
Jeez.
That's hard on your bones, man.
Yeah. It was at the time in the 80s when I was doing this, they really didn't understand the long-term effects of deep saturation diving. The Cambridge study didn't initiate till 87, and I was pretty much out of it, starting to ease out of it by then. And I have problems with bone and some other issues from that.
Yeah, and a couple of former soldiers that did that for a living, and yeah, they're basically taking a lot of extraordinary steps to heal a lot of that shit. They take it's a synthetic HGH along with a testosterone supplement with calcium to help fortify their bones.
Yeah, that's the bit. How that works, I don't know. You might know about it, but George, do you know how sort of the basic biomechanics of this? And to put it in lay terms, the decompression tables are built off of the off-gassing of body tissue. And they use 12 different types of tissue and organs, like lungs being your fastest to uptake and off gas, and bone being the slowest. So even when you come out of a decompression dive, you're still decompressing because your bones and everything are still off gassing. And what they found was this created microfractures and weakened the bone at a molecular, it's kind of like stirring the body with chopsticks. It kind of gets to you at the molecular level, right?
Yeah, right.
And so it wasn't really fully understood. And I was in that generation where the average diving depth was beyond 500 feet for saturation. And it's still.
How old are you?
I'm 62.
Okay, so do you suffer from osteoporosis or brittle bone syndrome, something like that?
I have a little bit of that. I lost, this might be TMI, I lost my teeth. I developed microfractures in my teeth, and over the years, they just started shearing off and facade shearing off. And finally, the dentist said, look, we can spend thousands of dollars and months in the chair and no guarantees. What do you want to do? So had to let those go.
You got a pen?
I'm sorry?
You got a pen?
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm sure write this down.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
It's basically a supplement called MK677.
Okay. And what
That's
does this do?
It's an HGH secretagogue, which basically you take it and your own body will produce HGH through your own pituitary gland.
Right.
And then you can take yourself some ionized calcium, and it could take the edge off your problems with your bones.
Yeah. And like all good commercial divers, I got neck and back issues.
Yeah, well,
Just from the job.
I got those too. Yeah.
Did you do that, commercial diving?
No. I used to jump out of airplanes for the Army with, my body weight strapped to myself and slam into the ground. So I have my own neck and back issues as well, but,
Probably knees too, yeah?
Yeah, I've had knee surgery once. I probably need it again before I kick the air addiction, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Hey, John.
Yes, sir.
Terrence is a. Can I call you a career military guy, Terrence?
Yeah, you can use that. I mean, 33 years is pretty much a career.
Yeah.
Yeah. And John, he has an audience of a lot of men, and a very distinct honor of helping men not kill themselves to the point where the number recorded is what, about 350, Terrence?
352 now.
352.
Is that working with veterans mostly, Terrence?
Well, I work with any man,
Okay.
veteran or not, it doesn't matter. A lot of these guys, they get married with great intentions, and as we know, 50% of all divorces, of all marriages end in divorce.
Yeah, and the
62
other 50% end in death.
It's 62%. It's okay. 62% of second marriages end in divorce, and 73% of third marriages end in divorce. And 80% of all these divorces are filed by women.
Oh, yeah.
And these guys, like for instance, my divorce, I took all my money and I was living in the street. I lost my kids. It was just fucking horrid. And a lot of men who go through this, they lose their hope. And when you're in the valley of darkness, hope is pretty much the only light you have left to navigate off of. And when that's removed, a lot of these guys decide, fuck it, and they end themselves. So it's like 70% of all of the soldier veteran suicides are, have a contact with divorce court, family court, and so forth. So.
Yeah, I saw my brother go through this, and he, I took him in, and his wife chucked him because he had basically had lost his job, and the money ran out.
That's pretty common.
She went to greener pastures.
Well, they think they're going to go to greener pastures. A lot of them don't.
No, I understand, but she wound up with everything. He wound up with nothing. Then she started saying things about him that screwed him over in divorce court or in child custody.
Yep.
And I witnessed that up front and personal.
Yeah, and from my experience, women that do this usually come to regret it severely about 5 years after the fact. They fight like hell to kick the guy out of their lives, out of the kids' lives. 5 years pass, and then they absolutely why can't he just see his children and because you ran them off, bitch. So
Yeah.
now you have a kid 5 years later who's probably, 11, 12, 13. In that age, when I was a boy that age, I looked at my mother and like, F you. You can't tell me what to do.
Yeah, she can't control him. He's too
That's
big
right.
now.
That's right. And then they go off the rail, and a lot of these women regret, running off the father of these kids. And then it's too late. It's just a slow motion train wreck with, drug abuse, dropping out of school, prison. And so it's just a whole, statistically speaking, it's a myriad of problems.
Oh yeah, no, I totally. I had the fortunate experience of in my 30s. I moved back to Dallas and was living in a nice part of Dallas, Highland Park, and there were a lot of divorcee women with children living in. There was like 10 units, and I was like one of the only single guys there, and all these other single divorced women with kids, and to get into the school district, right?
Yeah.
And you know, more than one occasion, I had a knock on the door. Here's one of the women, frazzled beyond belief and hysterical, going, "My son's out of control. I can't control him. Can you go over there?"
Yeah. I'm
You
going to be
know,
honest. If that were me, I'd say, no, it's called the father. Where is he? You ran him off. Hey, it is what it is. It's not my business. Because you're just setting yourself up for, run-ins with the law and liability if you step into that situation. It's not worth it.
well, what I did was I started rounding the boys up, and on Saturdays taking them to rugby. I played rugby at the time, and so I'd take them out. We'd go out. I'd play. They'd watch. The other guys would come in. We kind of started coaching them to play rugby, right? Letting them scrimmage
Yeah.
a little bit, and then take them out, pizza and stuff like that, and take them home. And just being around men improved a lot of them because they weren't necessarily bad kids. They just didn't have that father, that man in their life to kind of, what would be the term I'm looking for, to do the fatherly thing, to teach them how to be. Men have to teach boys to be men.
That's correct.
And so by getting these young guys out, taking them over to the ball field, doing stuff like that, it kind of helped smooth the situation down.
Oh, you're a better man than I am. In today's day
I got
and
a lot
age,
of free meals that way too.
yeah, in today's
for a
day and age,
single
I don't
guy.
want to do that.
Well, 90s, maybe a little different, right? Late 80s, 90s. But yeah, today, oh my God. You see a kid in distress, if you go over there, I gotta say, in the back of your mind, if I go and help this kid, am I gonna be, are they gonna come down on me if anything's happened to this kid before I went to help him?
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever. And once that stain goes down, it doesn't come up. There's no amount of bleach on this planet that'll take that stain up. And women use it to great effect.
Yes, they do.
I'm sorry. I'm 62 years of rolling. You kind of unfortunately see a few things. Wish it wasn't that way, though.
It is what it is. What are you going to do?
So, in the military, were you an officer or?
No, I was a sergeant. I
Okay.
retired as first sergeant, which is second highest of the enlisted ranks.
That was. I have a lot of friends who were career military, and you know, they loved it. They enjoyed it. It was good. It was a good way
Yeah,
of life for them.
I mean, I got my degree when I was 26. I could have put in a packet for direct commission, but I don't. Up until that point, I seen what the officer career and what the officers are all about, and I basically told them they could suck my dick. I want nothing to do with that shit.
Mm. I wanted to go in the military. This is kind of might sound. I was looking at it and going into the Navy, and they made me a pretty sweet offer. And my dad turned around, and nothing was going on at the time. We weren't involved in anything. And he goes, "If you go in the Navy and there's no war, you're just going to train for your time. You won't get advanced. Advancement will be difficult. You'll just sit around and train, or you know, sail around on the boat for 4 years and come back, and you'll be the same rank you went in as." And that was his take on it. It seemed to make sense to me.
Well,
And,
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I trained a lot, but I did see 3 wars.
mm-hmm.
That's just the nature of the beast. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, my dad was in the Navy in World War II. He was a fighter pilot, and
Oh
out
yeah.
in out in the Pacific. And he said, unless something's going on, there's no reason for you to go into the Navy. And if you go in the Navy, go in as an officer. And so.
I hear you.
Want to say hello to Minister. Where are you from? Minister of Time Travel.
I'm coming to you today from Illinois, but I'm originally from California.
Ah, excellent. Excellent. What did you do today?
I went to work, oversaw everything, made sure it was in a good spot, and took the afternoon off.
What kind of work do you do?
I work in hospitality. I make people's vacations happen, and I'm a general manager of a resort. We've got a great crew. I've never seen a year like this year, though. No,
How is that?
well, in terms of trying to folks, and I think I'm not as advanced as some people, so I don't recall a lot of previous. I did live through 9/11 as and this was very that I think we'd ever experienced. And for a lot of the people that work in my industry who are, say, under the age of 25, this is the most disruptive event of their lives. And so my goal is to help them to make the right decisions that will help them in the next 20 years, to sort of have a long-term view of. Yeah.
Right. Now, are you married with children? And
I'm divorced, no children.
okay.
Which
How long have you been divorced?
I guess it's been about 7 years. Your video about not referring to yourself as a divorced male actually touched my heart. I just saw it about a couple months ago.
Isn't that a funny thing? After you get divorced, you refer to yourself as a divorced man, and then, like when you're filling out applications and things, there's always like married, single, divorced, and I'm like, why is divorced an option? Why do I have to identify as divorced? it took me several years before I started checking off single.
I think I'm about.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're divorced or not.
Yeah. Well, I suppose part of it is I was the first of my family, several generations. So I suppose I took a lot of unproductive emotion.
Yeah.
But
unproductive emotion.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it.
But now I spend most of my time really trying to inspire people and, bring out their gift.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Minister of Time Travel. How do you bring someone out of a dark place when you talk to somebody who has been through, or someone who's recently been through it, and they feel like there's no hope in sight? How do you work with them? How do you share with them? How do you let them know they're not alone?
Well, you just letting them know alone.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't talk about religion or any of that stuff. But there have been some times when I don't know what else to do, where I pray for you. But most of the time, it's meeting them where they're at and assuring them that it's going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay, and trying not to rehearse, little platitudes or anything like that, but just being genuine in that moment and really connecting with that person. I'm lucky because I deal with most people when they're on vacation, right? So they're on vacation. So when even people work with them who are on vacation work for me, they're dealing with people who are on vacation. It'd be different if I worked at a hospital, where I'm meeting people on.
Oh yeah. So when you say you work in hospitality, is it kind of like the hotel or restaurant industry, like that kind of thing?
I think it dropped off.
Oh.
Or froze up.
Yeah.
Things happen.
Connection.
Yeah.
Stuff happens. It happens. Well, I like how, I've always said this too, that wherever you are, if you've been divorced for a month, you are 1 month ahead of the guy who found out yesterday that his marriage ended. So I always like to think that you have something to offer, even if it's only,
you're a year ahead. Divorce takes about a year minimum.
Yep. So, and then the aftershock of that, the ripple effect of a divorce, boy, that really affects a lot of guys too.
Yes, it does. Some guys never recover.
Yeah, they go into a tailspin. That is true.
Yeah, I was there, man. I was there.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think it's harder on men who divorce, who are older, their kids are grown, so there's no necessarily child support issues, things of this nature, versus a younger man with a younger family?
Well, it's always harder when you have young kids. Like my kids were like 4 and 2 when it started, and 5 and 3 when it was done. And with the youngest, I don't think I've ever been able to bridge the gap that all the time that was missed. So that's tough.
Yeah.
But if you've been married longer, then you get hit with alimony or long-term alimony or permanent alimony. and you lose a lot more of your retirement. I've known a lot of guys who got married and divorced later in life who now have to work until they're dead.
Yeah.
So, I will say this though: if I was ever hit with permanent alimony, I would just tell the judge, "Fuck off, throw me in jail. I'm not doing it. I'm nobody's slave."
Right.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm gonna grease you up, Terrence, and then I'm gonna ask you a tough question. But first, I'll give you my background. Everyone knows me. I'm a vet. Hoorah! I followed you for a long time. Is my mic working, guys?
Yes.
Yeah,
All
I got you.
And I loved your videos. I still like them. You do more streams than the vids. I followed your message. I'm a vet, divorced, married when I got in the Air Force at 18, divorced at 40. I don't pay alimony. I have custody of my son. My ex-wife actually believed that my son, when he was a teen at the time, was best with me. And my daughter's with her, and I have 50-50, so she ends up paying me.
Cool.
But here's the thing. I have such great respect for you, Mr. Pop. You've always been original. You never gave a shit. And George, the same thing. I did a video, George, where I defended you against modern life dating, that scumbag. But here's my question. I know I'm greasing you up. Donovan Sharp.
Well, Marty, thank you for that, because I did see that video you did, and I'll be honest with you, I don't even know where he was coming from. That was
I don't understand it. I think it's like that Gran Torino thing I said, where he had a problem with an old man on the porch when he was younger, and he's just taking it out on you because you're like this daddy figure he wants to rebel against. So I did this video and I really popped him. I got a lot of likes. So I'm going to ask you guys a tough question, and please don't boot me off because it's legit. I have such a low opinion of Donovan Sharp because of he's not transparent. I don't know how both of you guys associate with him in any way. If he was just more transparent and honest, because I'm a divorced guy. I was blindsided, and when I found the red pill before I became black pilled, I believed in these grifters. And the first people I found was Sharp, Cooper, and I blasted them already. But Sharp's the biggest I felt was worst. I follow you, Mr. Pop. I follow you, George, even though sometimes I don't agree who you associate with, but I'm really disturbed how you guys are willing to stand next to that man.
Right, I understand. I want to be honest. Number one, I'm in the business to save lives, keep guys from killing themselves. And I will speak with whoever invites me to speak as long as I can get in front of as many eyeballs and ears as I can. Because, what we have going on now in our divorce industry and all that bullshit that's going on is evil because it destroys hope and love. So I cannot afford to lose one person getting involved in bullshit beef or what have you. Now I'll speak anywhere anyone invites me. I don't care. I will, and or I'll do comedy or I'll do something to assist the plight of men. Okay, I have no beef with Donovan Sharp. I have no beef with anybody else, and I've had a lot of trolls in the past and feminism. Male feminists attack me and so forth, and I could care less. I mean, this is my face, this is my name. I'm easy to find. I just tell the truth, and it is what it is. I mean, that is my rationale here.
I respect that answer.
Two things.
I do. I respect that answer. And
here's two things. Number one, you said, Terrence, you said the divorce, you said the magic word, a divorce industry. It literally is an industry, isn't it? It's not just it's not just something that happens. It literally is an industry, and there's a lot of people making money off of it, and the legal system does hammer men pretty well. That's item number one. Item number two is you and I have worked together twice, and I have found, and I had said this to people. I had said this to people publicly, that you are one of the most compassionate men, and that night that you and I sat down and talked about my friend who shot himself in the chest, killed himself about a month ago.
Mm.
And I saw a side of you that I never saw before. And I'm even getting like goosebumps talking about it, because the compassion you showed, not only towards my friend who zeroed himself out, but for me, who has all these questions. Like, this guy was my best friend. We went out like every Sunday night, beer, wings, watching a rock and roll band, hanging out at this biker bar. And I now am forced into a situation where I have to be comfortable with the uncertainty. I'm never going to really know what happened. And it's just a horrible feeling. So, but talking with you last Saturday night, Terrence, honestly was healing. And I'm not close to zeroing myself out, but I feel the
thing
same
is,
way.
if you have friends that commit suicide, you have no choice as an outside observer, especially for talking to the survivor, to get in there and plug that hole that was left, because if you don't plug that hole, their goodness, their soul, their being is going to leak out until they're empty shells themselves. And the best thing you can do is step in with a little boat putty and keep it from happening, because it's like a domino effect. I've seen it in the military where one guy commits suicide, and then 6-8 weeks later, 4 or 5 of his friends attempt it. Maybe one does it, and you need to step in there and plug those holes so you just nip it in the bud. And now, and I'm not saying you're going to do anything drastic or anything, but
Well,
that's just
I
instinctive
always
for me.
I always wondered, there is a whenever there are any tragic events, you always hear about copycat events or a domino effect.
Correct.
And I see these things happening, and then these statistics. Now, maybe you can attest to this. Is it true that 22 veterans kill themselves every day? Is that?
Yes. I'm going to be honest.
Sounds right.
That's a light number.
Yeah.
Because historically, after you've been out of the military 5 years, you're no longer tracked by the Department of Defense.
Oh.
So, was it 85% of homeless are men? And men are committing suicide at breakneck speed, and I can almost guarantee you a lot more of them are veterans than 22 a day.
Yeah.
You're right, Terrence. I work with vets. I work with men who've gone through divorce. I have these divorce groups. I talk about it on George's Brothers channel, and whoever listens. It's a tremendous problem, especially with vets. They get such disrespected. These
I know.
Can I curse, George? These effing liberals are just terrible to vets. They would rather help people that are undocumented, not patriotic, than they would a vet, a man who risked his life. My brother's still in the Army. He's been overseas countless times. But so many. And here's the worst part about a vet: you'll serve your country, you'll start to make a living when you get out, which is difficult now because a lot of them are listed. They don't have the college, and these divorce courts, they're just cruel. They're cruel.
Yeah.
And topping all this, and they can't see their kids. They served their country. They were good men, quality men. Their exes probably cheated on them while they were away. There's no outlet, but there's no help for them really. Like you'll see all this help for these women who stub their toes. There's what are they in New York City? They think there's 22 female domestic violence shelters. 0 for men. 0 for men.
Hey,
There's no free.
I'll be back
help.
in 1 minute. Okay, just give me a few minutes. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
There's no free mental health. It's just a travesty what happens to men.
Yeah.
Marty,
hey, Marty,
John.
I will answer your question about being involved with Donovan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I personally never had any problems with him. Like, I was never personally attacked or never never got a hit video or a hit piece or anything like that. He was always very kind with me. And not unlike Terrence, I just feel like I want to bring my light to places where there's darkness. And I look at, no matter what event is happening, like a weekend event of where men gather, the audiences are pretty much the same. Now there's a small percentage of guys who like want to learn how to be better with women, and you know, that's not my thing. I don't, you know, I'd rather just teach a man how to be a man. And to me, I've always said, you attract women, you don't chase them. There's and you will attract kind of like what you are. Like if you're kind of like an out of shape guy with a bad attitude, you can end up attracting out of shape fat women with bad attitudes, whatever. But I find that when people go to conferences and gatherings and seminars and workshops and stuff, man, I'll tell you what, when I went through my divorce, there wasn't any groups. There was no such thing as Zoom calls. There was nothing like this, like what we're doing. And honest to God, the only thing that I had to deal with, my own demons. I was alone. I drank like a maniac. I had a revolving door on my bedroom. And honest, I've been saying this, that like women are like drugs. Okay, you can have an evening of pleasure, but the next day you still feel like shit. You still feel the loss of your family, and all you did was delay it. You know what I mean? Like staring at a strange woman's breasts and watching her head bob up and down, you know, all night long. I mean, it's. I say that jokingly now, but back then, I really thought that would help change the channel.
It's music to my ears, man. Music to my ears.
George, but I'm so different from you. I couldn't give a, you know, I don't hate women, but I couldn't give a rat about a woman. I won't spend a penny on a drink for them. And you know what? For some reason, they still find their way to my bed, drinking or not. I just won't.
You trip over them. I know.
Yeah, because when you're trying to do your own thing, they find that sexy. And you know what? I don't care. I don't care if I have a weekend alone. My kids are my most important thing, making my money. And along the way, I run into a few.
You are a true MGTOW guy. I mean, that's
no,
what
I'm
we
not
all
MGTOW.
are. Every one of us here. Well,
I have booty calls that I call. Hey, what you doing?
Yeah, but
they come over.
Right, but your world doesn't revolve around the acquisition or loss of pussy. You know what I mean?
No man should. That doesn't make you MGTOW.
That's right.
Right.
You know, that's what I tell. That's what I tell every man who's getting divorced. She did you a favor because now you can live the life you want instead of compromising your life away just to make her happy, and she'll never be happy. Like, what is the point? And I love women. Listen, I don't hate women. I have so many female friends.
Right.
You know, you want to be a single mom, go right ahead. Just don't bother me. Don't send me pics of your kids at their birthday. I don't want to see how cute. Keep them away from modern life dating because, you know, he'll take pictures of them and post them. But, you know, that's why I just came on.
I like to say this, Marty, that a man's first task, because everybody wants to restore their marriage. A lot of guys, when the woman splits, they take responsibility for it, and they go, well, maybe I did something wrong. And they try to get her back. They send her flowers. They drive by the house at 3:00 in the morning to see if another guy's car is in the driveway. And I always tell men all the time, your duty is to get yourself back, because in that process, you lost yourself. Don't try to get her back. Get you back. And I think we don't get strong by getting a woman back or getting other women. That means nothing. And I want to see men be strong on their own and stand up on their own 2 feet. And I think that's important. And a lot of guys, it's amazing how when I say that, some men send me emails and say, wow, that was a like a light bulb moment. And for me, it's just a simple phrase. It just, get yourself back. Don't try to get her back. But that alone is transformative for the man who is spending like his first year or two of being a divorce guy, or post-divorce, or post-marital separation, trying to get her back when he completely lost himself. He's gone.
That's the that's the biggest waste, and I preach it. Maybe I'm coming off as evil, but when my wife divorced me, I was 40, she was 41. It was the best moment of my life. You know what it's like to watch a football game now and not give a shit? Do you know what it's like to just hang out with your boys? You want to do some poker? Do you want to just sit at the bar and just look at the dumb, figure out who's a tranny, who's not? You know how fun that is, man? Just not giving a shit.
Right.
And I tell my friends, all the divorce guys I do, I say, you know what? We're all going to hang out. That's the remedy, is look how fun it is. You don't need a woman. Your brain is telling you this. You were programmed,
Marty.
But here's the one thing. Never spend $1 on anyone online who's selling you how to date women, how to pick them up. That's my beef, and there's men, they're so broke. You need those $5, $10. Get a book. It doesn't cost you a dime to watch Terrence Popp, George Bruno, to watch their streams. You want to send a super chat, show them you like them, send them $5, $10. Don't spend hundreds of dollars on these a-holes who really don't care about you. That's my beef. What's going on with the manosphere is everyone's trying to upsell you when there's so much content out there. You want to see what it's like to be a vet and to be divorce raped and see what feminism is? Go to Terrence Popp, go to Coach Adams, go to 21 Studios. You want to become a better man all around? Go to George Bruno. Go to Primal Man. He's a small channel, but you know him, George.
Yes.
And someone like me, I'm a sarcastic son of a bitch. You shouldn't listen to me. You should just listen to me for fun. Shits, giggles and shits.
Yeah, but listen. When you don't have that sarcastic edge, you're speaking truth. And what happens is, I do believe that sarcasm and cynicism comes from pain. It comes from shit that we've been through. It's the evidence. It's the proof that you've been through shit. And not everyone, nobody acts normal or appropriate when they've gone through pain. Nobody. I don't care. The most stoic guy in the world is I know guys that are like, I'm okay. I'm not in pain. Nothing bothers me, as a tear is coming down his face, And I don't want to mock that tear coming down his face, but I know where he's coming from. And I end all of my correspondence with, "You'll be okay. You're going to be okay." And I could write, I could respond to a guy's email literally an email that's a foot long, and at the end, I write to him. I say, "You'll be okay. Please stay in touch." And the only thing he heard out of everything I wrote was, "You'll be okay." And they just want someone to tell them. Yeah, but I hear from them, and I get guys who write me now. I guess my memory's not like it used to be. So someone would write me and say, "I wrote you 5 years ago, and I went through this, and this. Do you remember?" And I really don't remember, because I get 80 to 100 messages a day from men, but I trust him when he says that he wrote me 5 years ago, and I don't remember his details. And so at that moment, I don't want to show that I don't remember. So what I say is, "Well, how are you doing now? How is your life now?" And most get better, but it takes time. Oh my gosh, it takes time.
Hey guys, Marty.
Yes, John.
I got an evil story about how evil I was to a guy, and it's classic.
Doesn't it involve sodomizing him, does it?
No.
Okay.
Well,
I'll listen to it. As long as you're not sodomizing him, I'll listen to it.
Well, not literally, but you'll get it. I had a suspect who turned into being arrested, and we're in trial. And we went through 40 hours of videotape. He had set video cameras up in his house. And he had would videotape things. And we had a young intern, or not intern, but assistant was working with us, and we put her in the back watching these videos. And we always knew when we got something good, when we'd hear her go, ew, 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 ew. And so we hear her go off, and we go in there, and there's some really good video clips. So I take it to the forensic lab, and I had them make kind of like the old Alice's Restaurant song. I had them make about a dozen 8x10 color glossy photos with a paragraph on the back describing what was going on. And we played this in court. Now, his son had just gotten up and testified with this picture of his dad. Okay, and what a wonderful man and a great father and husband and all of this. Now it was our turn. And we get up and go, the prosecutor we have a little bit different story to tell. And what it was his 17-year-old pregnant girlfriend and him in the bedroom. And he comes out, pulls out a baggie out of the armoire with a white line, obviously powder, goes over to the bed, brings her over. She's pregnant, lays out lines. They do rails of coke, right? And then proceed to do the wild thing. His wife is sitting in the gallery. Okay. And I can see the veins starting to bulge in her head. And the U.S. Marshal, we had marshals in there. There were some other things about this guy. We had marshals in there for security. And the marshal leaned over to me and goes, John, if I slide my gun over toward her, this trial's over in about 30 seconds. If you do the paperwork, we can make this happen. Oh my God. You have never seen this woman. I mean, I thought she was just going to go off right then and there. But man, we crucified this guy. And he ended up getting 15 years in federal prison, medium security prison at that. You know, he didn't go to Club Fed. And, you know, so that's being evil. Okay.
I got a really scary story then. I once had a Dominican escort and her hands were super cold.
Ooh. Ooh.
No, I got some horror story, but you know.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. That's why I came on. You know, I saw. Plus, I don't understand why is this loser John Hogwood attacking you, George? It's just. But you gotta remember, this guy Hogwood's attacking you, and he's super close with these guys you're in Vegas with. So that's another thing I'm a little concerned about, because I'm not going to do an attack piece on George. I don't care who you guys associate with, really. I like Terrence. His message is always on point. His message doesn't change for these losers. I love that. George, I'm always cool with you. I don't like the upsellers. That's what bugs me. I love George. I love Greg Adams.
Here's my thing. There were guys that I didn't think I was going to get along with, and when I saw them face to face, they knew that I was kind of a no bullshit kind of guy. And I've been around, you know, there's a lot of rings on this tree, you put it that way. And I command a little bit of respect only because I'm a little bit older and the gray hair and such. And, you know, they're not fans of any of my wisdom. But every single one of them said to me, wow, a real honor and pleasure to meet you. Big fan of your work for years. And I'm like, what? Like, how can that be? And I spent the whole weekend with these guys just having, like, for instance, me and Coach Greg. 2 years ago, me and Coach Greg were going to kill each other. Literally. We, honest to God. And then we met face to face. I called him first. We exchanged numbers and we talked on the phone a few times. And I asked him flat out, I said, when we meet face to face, I said, Are we going to be cool? And he says, absolutely. And when I met him, you know, the hands went out to do a handshake, and we both said, fuck the handshake. And I just gave him just a fucking man hug. And at that moment, he said to me, call me anytime, man. Call me anytime. Doesn't matter. And I said, likewise, my friend, likewise. And that
But
was
you gotta
cool.
remember, you're a sugar
Now,
daddy, George. George, you're a sugar daddy. They need you and Terrence. You bring people in. They're cheap tricks, man. I'm telling you, Myron will hop on top of your lap and dance for you. Listen, I'm telling you. Listen, Myron's got, you know, he's cool with this guy who's attacking you. And they did not do a piece where they stood up and said, I disavow this. You know, it's wrong. And, you know, Rich Cooper bashed you. He bashed you on Instagram. You went on a live stream. And I called him out. And guess what this a-hole did? He blocks me. And all I said was, this guy, George Bruno, he's never changed his message. You on the other hand, are right in the crotch of this guy, Rolo, who's another guy who's older, married to an older woman, has one-nitis, has the soulmate mentality. It sells a book that preaches the opposite. And I said to Cooper, I said, George Bruno, at least he stays on message and he's transparent and blocked. Yeah. These are the guys you're associating with. This is what bothers me, man. I appreciate your messages don't change, though. I give you guys credit for that.
Let me help you get unbothered. I do it for the audience. I don't do it. Terrence doesn't need my message, but there's going to be faces when I'm up on stage and I'm looking out at the faces and I see some guys taking copious notes. Then I know I'm reaching some guys. Then there's other guys that are just like surfing on their phone and they're texting while I'm talking, and and I'm aware of that. I know not everyone's a fan. I'm not a huge fan of like what I call the parade of perverts. You know, when you go to a lot of men's conventions, it's just like one guy after another of how to get more pussy than you've ever gotten before, and I'm like, and I kind of roll my eyes and I go, okay, all right, whatever. Stay focused, George. Stay focused. Keep the message true. You know, help people, and that's what I do. So I no matter what I was at a Christian men's conference about 2 years ago, and the first year I was the host of the conference, and they loved me, and I got a lot of followers, and probably some of them might even be watching tonight. When it came to the point where I was wondering if I was going to get invited back because I had such good reviews, he says, I can't invite you back. I said, why? He says, one of the guys watched your channel and reported to me that you consistently use the F word. So, and he said that he can't share a stage with you. And I said, what? I said, you got to be kidding me. So I got uninvited from a Christian men's conference. And I'm like,
I would have said, are you fucking kidding me? Just like that.
Yeah. Well, I basically told him to go fuck himself and fuck your theology, fuck your church. And I'm sure he shit his pants when he heard me say that, because my message doesn't change if I am at the pickup convention or I'm at a Christian men's convention. All men have similar needs, no matter if they have a cross hanging around their neck or whatever, So I try to stay consistent. And think about the men in the audience that need it. And I'm the guy at the conference that just goes from person to person, shaking their hands. And I've done this at every conference I've ever been to. I say, hey, I'm really glad you're here. What is your name? And they tell me their name, and, I'll write it down. And I always look for one thing to compliment them on. Hey, nice sport coat. I like your tie. That's a cool haircut. Like, dude, how often do you work out, man? You got some killer biceps there. So I try to make a connection with guys, and that's where I win, and that's where it makes it worth it for me. The only reason why I go back is, if Satan had a conference, I'd probably go to it if he invited me. most likely.
I'd
Only
probably dance
because I
with them.
know they're.
I would probably dance with them.
Yeah.
Tell me how to
Right.
help men. Tell me how to help men. If I have to go to the dark side and save men's lives, I'd do it.
Right, exactly. And so I've been in group pictures where I don't like the man to my left, but I like the man to my right. But I put that aside and I say, okay, I'm here for those faces in the audience. And that's really the bottom line. That's, that's.
Can I
I
interject
can't explain
something?
it any other way. Yeah, go ahead, John.
Since I'm the only audience guy here, I don't have a podcast or anything like that. Marty, Terrence, I haven't seen you all's podcasts.
You haven't seen Terrence? What? You gotta see. You gotta go. Start from the beginning. He's got, man. It will change
John,
the way you look at life, man.
But I just haven't run across it. I mean, now that I know he has a podcast, I'll go take a look. Now I know
it's
you
not
have
a podcast.
one.
It is good. You gotta see it. I can't describe it, man. I can't. You should actually get off the stream right now and start watching his videos.
Well, here's the thing. I found George and I started listening to him, and sort of peer to peer, we're in the same age group, and he reminded me of things that I knew, but he reminded me I had some different tools in the toolbox that were at the bottom of the toolbox I hadn't used in a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't that a Viagra joke?
No.
Okay.
A metaphor. Okay. No. Metaphor. I'll give you a Viagra joke, but that's later. But
I don't want to hear about the Viagra and the Taiwanese male hooker.
No. It involved the DEA. But yeah, they were looking for 6 hardened criminals. You can fill in the rest of it.
Do you mean when the Viagra helped you become a hardened criminal?
Well, no, they stole a shipment of Viagra. They sent a bolo out, and they ended up looking for 6 hardened criminals. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Great.
I took a Cialis once. It got stuck in my throat, and then I got a stiff neck.
Oh, geez.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah. Listen, I've taken that blue pill once in a blue moon. When you get that day where you're starting to get doubling up on the women you meet, and you just got a reputation to uphold, and you pop the blue pill.
What was that movie that was really bizarre? Blue Velvet. Do you remember that, George?
Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, and he would hit the ammonium nitrate. Before there was Viagra and Cialis, guys were doing hits of ammonium nitrate.
Yeah, that's old school. That's back.
That's
from our
old
day,
school,
right?
man.
Yeah, it is.
But anyway, no. But I because of George and hearing about the manosphere, which originally I thought was a gay bar in Miami.
That's the Tranosphere. The Tranosphere is the gay bar in Miami.
Okay. But anyway, I just pictured this club with the disco light bulb going around on. Anyway,
that's the dude party show, the good-looking dude party show by John Hogwood.
But I see certain guys on here, and I'm like, are you kidding me? What's he really trying to say here? And you look around, and I'm not a player. I'm 62 years old. I'm not going to go clubbing and playing, and that's behind me. That's for you young guys. Okay?
No, it's not for men. Stop buying bottles of liquor for women. Stop buying women drinks. Stop giving your attention away for free. Hang out with your boys. Go hunting.
Yeah, but what do you put the roofie in?
What do you put the roofie in?
If you,
No, you gotta hang with your boys, man.
No. I mean, Cosby had it with the pudding. You got to get creative now. Anyway.
No, we don't do that to women. George Bruno does not endorse doing anything to women to make them. No. Listen, you got forget the clubs. That's the biggest problem.
No, I don't.
The main, when you go to clubs, you're going for the women. Stop doing this for women. Have fun with other men. Help other men. You know, just the less money you spend on women, the more money in your pocket. The more money you can go hunting. You can just go to the movies. Just put it aside. Go on vacation. I'm just annoyed with these
He's
guys.
absolutely correct. Yep.
But
Thank you, man.
Absolutely
Because
correct.
you know what? I'd rather invest the money in a good scotch or whiskey than I would buying a bottle of wine for a bottle of champagne for a woman at a club.
You want to know what I just did with some of my money? I bought land. Because 20 years now, it's still going to be land.
Yeah, that's right.
If you can drop a bomb on it, it'll still be land. Doesn't matter.
no, you're never wrong buying land.
Men, and that's what the problem with these pickup artists. These pickup artists make it about women, and it can't be, because the minute you focus on the women, this deck's stacked against you. And then, God forbid, you get into this financial contract with women called marriage. And if you're in a marriage now, that's fine. But marriage, and the only time a man should get married, the only time is if she's worth 500 million.
Marty, do you know what a guy my age looks for in a woman?
I'm going to take a guess here. She doesn't use vaginal cream.
No, a pulse. Come on.
Okay,
62 years old. I mean, come on, man.
Enough.
Honey, you can leave your walker at the front door. It's okay, really.
No, that's what you do to keep her in the house. You take the walker away so she can't leave.
But anyway, no, you want them to leave. Trust me.
Well, first of all, that's your first mistake. You see, the laws of nutshots. Never bring a woman to your home. Don't, unless you have a video camera to record everything to protect yourself.
No,
never bring
the story I
home.
told you was about video cameras and recording things.
Oh, yeah, and I don't want to find you. If I Google John Hoover Pornhub, I do not want to experience that right
you
now.
You don't want to Google John Hoover DOJ.
No,
forget Pornhub. Pornhub, no.
I don't want to see like a Filipino John Hoover, Filipino midget, and a Taiwanese hooker. I'm just worried about that.
Hey, look, I thought I got that video off. Where did you see that? Come on now. I was young then, okay? Some things you do for the story. Okay?
Right.
I actually the dive crew, we got Cinderella Liberty in the port of Lerwick in the Shetland Islands. Okay? And there's a pretty girl behind every tree in the Shetland Islands. There are no trees in the Shetland Islands. Think about this. Anyway, there was a midget. Do you call them midgets? I don't know what to call them anymore, but a tiny
little people or something.
Little people, yeah. And she was all tank top and skirt and heels and one of the guys said, "I'm going for it." And we're like, "Dude, no." And he goes, "I'm doing it for the story." And we're like, "What?" Oh my God. Mm. And so we're talking to her and she goes, "Why are you going with him?" "I'm doing it for the story." And they just played this all night on us. And we're just like, no, we thought we were going to have to punch him and drag him out, but it was funny. You got to understand, you have 20 guys who've been offshore for 2 months. No, and this is the rig stuff now is nice. Back then, there was no Wine Women or MTV out there. Okay.
Oh, there is now?
Yeah, they could call cell phones and do all this stuff. And
so what did 20 men in the North Sea on an oil rig for 3 months do when they weren't working on the oil rig?
Okay.
Playing cards,
turned into a dude party.
No,
yeah, right.
Here's what you do. You can't drink. That's verboten. Okay. So you come in, have dinner, maybe watch a video. after about 30 days, you're so tired coming off shift because you're running down that you could drag yourself to your cabin, fall in your bunk, and you're asleep.
Yeah.
And after 60 days, you've got 90 days, you're in tough shape. But there would be Blu-ray games, there would be some card games, watch a movie. On the rigs, they actually had gyms you could go work out a bit because they were stable. On ships, you can't work out. We didn't have free weight. You can't use free weights or anything like that on a ship. Okay, they wouldn't allow it because it was too easy to hurt yourself. Ship. Yeah. And if you hurt yourself offshore and get medevaced in, that's expensive. Okay, I mean, you can lose $5,000-$10,000 that month getting shipped to, because when you're on the beach, you don't get paid. All right, and over in the North Sea and stuff like that, they don't have workers' comp. We're independent contractors. Okay, and there's no liability lawsuits over in the UK are tough. To do. You almost have to bring them back to the United States under the I believe it's the Paul Jones Act, maritime law. And
John, I'm not going to cut you off. Sorry about it. Quickly, I got to split. I got to meet my boys for
sorry.
dinner.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to interrupt. I'm saying goodbye. Thanks for the stream. Great to see you, Terrence. Thank you, George. I hope I didn't cause too much ruckus. Everyone in the audience, guys.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
Guys, later. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Peace, man.
All right.
Hey, Terrence.
Yeah.
I want to come back to something we were talking about a little earlier. You were talking about suicides amongst veterans and military people. How much does PTSD play a role in that?
It does have a role in actual suicide, but that's just it's just another thing that weakens resolve, and the death blow is usually always a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
It almost always is.
Yeah.
I mean, I suffer from PTSD. I got all of the bullshit that goes on. I mean, you can only see so much evil before you take it back with you. And the thing that broke me, man, is, I thought I was going to get a fair shake, and all the shit I fought for this country, it just didn't apply in family court. All they violated all my constitutional rights. I had no recourse. There's nothing I could fucking do. They just royally fucked me hard. And I'm shocked that there isn't a barricaded gunman across from every family court in America 24/7, 365. I really am. I'm shocked that that's not happening.
It's that sense of betrayal that is so hard to swallow.
Yes, it is.
I also, in fact, George and I did an interview regarding PTSD, and I've suffered from it for quite a while. And it was the sense of betrayal that wound me down. Not only my government, my colleagues, but my family, my wife.
Yeah.
And that all came crashing in on me in very short order, and it was more than I could process.
Yeah.
Now, there is something I did last year that was a total game changer for me with PTSD. I got the stellate ganglion block. I don't know if you've heard about that.
No.
I saw it on Rogan's program. He was talking with Dakota Meyer, and Dakota Meyer had it done, and I had it done here in Austin. In fact, I was the first patient to have it done in Austin, and I had a 70% reduction in symptoms across the board. And I'm going on 8 months now and getting ready to have to do it again because my symptoms are coming back, which is not uncommon. I mean, that's to be expected, 6 months to a year. But that 70% reduction in the symptoms allowed the psychologist I was working with that room to work with me. And it's a simple procedure. It was covered by my insurance. There's more and more clinical data coming out on this. And it's something that if you haven't looked into it, I personally would recommend that you do that.
What
It
was
helps.
that video? John, what was the video that you sent me? It was a YouTube video of
60 minutes. It was a 60 minutes piece with Dakota Meyer talking about that and going into the specifics of the stellate ganglion block. And basically, Terrence, how it works. What? Go ahead.
Is that the one, like, they kind of put you into a twilight anesthesia?
Yeah, my doctor.
Then they put
They go in through the neck and they go to the stellate ganglion nerve, which, if you look at it, it's sort of a spidery looking nerve that connects up into the brain. And they bathe this nerve with anesthetic. And what it does is it slows down and helps reset the parasympathetic side of the brain. Because the mechanics of PTSD, basically that memory gets locked into the part of the brain where it is not date stamped, if you will. Most people that go through a traumatic event, they process it and it goes to the side of the brain. It goes into a file, if you will. It's date stamped, and you're able to pull it back as a memory. Here, it becomes part of the fight or flight part of the brain, and certain things will trigger that back, and it comes back. And you get, with me, I got insomnia, hypervigilant, aggressive. I had waking hallucinations. I had a real rough time. And when I first had it, they treated it with opiates, antidepressants, which did me no favors at all. That threw me even worse. I don't know which is worse, having PTSD symptoms or being totally numb.
Yeah.
And it took me about a year and a half to get off all the opiates. I was on hydrocodone and morphine together, okay, along with lorazepam, antidepressants, and some other. It was an evil cocktail. But that's how they treated it back then. They just numbed you out so you were docile.
Yeah.
And I remember trying to discuss it with my wife. And I got a book that was really good. And I said, this is what's going on with me. This will help you understand it. I slid it across the table. She slid it back. Mm-hmm. And I just said, fuck you.
Mm-hmm. In the chat, Jonathan Borth says it blocks the nerves from transmitting to the amygdala, which is overactive in PTSD. The amygdala controls fight or flight. So here we go.
Yeah. I'm just not all down with the big terms right at the moment. I got to have my notes.
Yeah. When are you due for another one?
My psychologist met with my doctor Friday. They discussing it. I see my doctor next week. and hopefully we got green lights, and I'll slide in and get it done.
What kind of doctor administers this? Is this a neurologist that does that, or?
They do, but there's a pain doctor who his training is in anesthesia, and he's a pain doctor, and he's progressive. I've had him work on my back in the past. He's a real good needle guy. You know, a lot of experience. The stellate ganglion block is an old procedure. It's been around for about 40 years and used for pain mitigation. But a doctor out of Washington, D.C., who was treating veterans, who was also a former Navy SEAL, started administering this in his patients, and those patients with PTSD were showing signs of improvement. And so that made him curious, and he started working on this. He got grant money for trials, and away we go. And the VA looks at it, and certain VA facilities are doing this now.
That's great.
And so it's been, I mean, my experience with it was positive. The only side effect I had from the procedure is I got hiccups for a couple of days. And that was, they think the anesthesia caused it, causing my diaphragm or whatever muscles to relax a little bit. And they gave me a muscle relaxer and the hiccups went away. So
one guy in the chat says, weed is my antidepressant.
Okay. Yeah. But depression is just one part of PTSD.
Right. Landon, how are you?
Hey, George, how are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Where are you at, Landon?
I'm driving through Iowa, heading to Kansas City.
Excellent. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, of course. I've been following you for a while. Never had the chance to speak with you. So,
yeah.
Nice to meet you formally.
Okay. Excellent. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Of course. Having a hard time seeing because I got the sun in my face, so I can't see who else is on, but
yeah.
Hello to everybody else.
Sweet. Well, I got to jump off here, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure.
Nice meeting you.
Good to have you on.
All right, man.
I'll check your channel out.
Take it easy.
What's the name of your channel?
All right. Redonkulous.com.
Okay.
Excellent. Thanks, Terrence.
Could I just jump into a private discussion?
And so that.
Well, we got King Cobra on. How are you, sir?
Doing good, man. Been a huge fan for years. You and Terrence Pop.
Good to see you. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Absolutely. Where are you from?
Casper, Wyoming.
Oh wow, Wyoming. Nice.
Yes, sir.
And what did you do all day today?
I watched YouTube videos. I make wands for a living.
Okay.
What is that?
Oh my lord, look at that.
It's a magic wand.
Oh.
Cobra Craft Handmade Wands on Etsy.
And what do people do with that?
They practice magic, or they're a fan of my videos that I do on my channel, or maybe they're Harry Potter fans.
Okay. And you make those?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So you're very industrious then.
Indeed.
That's great. That's great. Hi, Martine.
George, what have you been doing
Hey,
all
Mark.
day?
Well, I cut hair today at the shop. That was good. And came home, created a couple videos on how to give yourself a haircut.
Nice. It's pretty
That's what I
simple
did,
for
yeah.
me because I just use a one guard and I buzz my head.
And that's it. You just buzz yourself down. Yeah.
Simple as that. It's the quarantine cut, so.
Yeah.
Anyway,
How about your beard? Tell me about your beard. Do you trim your own beard?
Yeah, I do it all myself. I used to go to a barber to do my hair, but then I just decided to start buzzing it. Must have been over quarantine. I had a wall set, so I cut it. And then the beard I've always done myself, pretty much since I started.
Greatest stuff on the planet.
But I went to a barbershop once. They did it all weird, and ever since then I started just doing it myself. I just use a wall trimmer to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so we have this Martine. Hey, Martine, how are you? Can you hear me? Okay, she's back off again.
Looks like she might be having technical problems, George.
Yeah, I think so.
So, Landon, what were you going
John.
to talk about? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, when you get a chance, look up Terrence's channel. He's quite well known in the YouTube men's community, and I don't want to puff his head up too much, but he is quite famous. So,
okay. Yeah.
But he's a lot of men really respect his message, and he's very well known, and on top of that, just a decent guy.
Seems like it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Landon, you were going to talk about something. You had something on your mind, I thought.
Nothing in particular. I just was driving.
Can you guys hear me?
I saw George went live or something.
Okay.
I thought I wanted to jump on and say hello quick, see what's going on, but nothing in particular.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's good.
I don't know what's going
This
on.
is an open. Hi,
I'm
Martine.
I'm up. Hey, it's Martine. Hey,
Hi, Martine. Where are you located?
I'm in Gainesville, Florida.
Nice. Is it hot down there?
It is like 70 degrees tonight.
Lucky.
It's 76 where I'm at.
And you're
Martine
up
is
north,
learning
yeah.
the technology. She's trying to get the technology down. That's okay. Come on back when you get a chance. Elaine Bernard, greetings from Canada. Elaine, click the link and jump in the conversation. This is a talk radio night.
I'm back.
And this is, oh, there we go. Okay.
I'm sorry, there's a disconnection with my phone. Anyway,
It's okay.
I love
What did
hearing from you guys. I love all of you guys. And I love what you're saying about masculinity and men and women. I agree with you on the whole issue of femininity and feminism. I disagree with it at all.
Heart of the people.
Yeah. All right.
So, Landon, when you get to Kansas City, you got to get some dry rubbed ribs, man.
That's right. Best barbecue in the nation.
I'm telling you.
I don't know how the barbecue is out in Pennsylvania, George, but I can tell you the barbecue in KC is incredible.
Excellent. Rutger, how are you, sir?
What's going on, man? Just enjoying my Saturday.
Good to see you. What'd you do all day today?
I got up and went on a little 4 mile hike today. It was very
Nice.
nice, and it zapped me. And I spent most of my Saturday taking a nap, as you can see with my nap beard right now. So now here I am, and my Saturday's gone, but got a little bit
What
left.
was the weather like? What was the weather like during your hike?
Well, it's Alabama weather, man. So it's freezing in the morning. It's like low 40s in the morning, and then afternoon it gets mid 50s, low 60s.
Yeah.
It gets really nice at midday, but it's pretty brutal this time of year, man. We'll have tornadoes one day. It'll be freezing the next day, and then a week after that, it'll be in the 70s and the 80s. You'll be sweating your ass off.
Yeah,
right.
There were some bad tornadoes. I have a buddy that lives in Birmingham, I think.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
there were some pretty gnarly tornadoes that rolled through there recently.
Yeah, it was I think last week, man, in Birmingham got hit pretty bad.
Yeah.
Rutger, there is a gal who comes on here at times, Terry from Alabama. Did you ever see her before on this channel?
I don't think so, man. I think I've come across her.
Yeah, she's I think she's homesteading. She was giving somebody some type of advice about goats and cows and something like that the other night. And first thing I thought was, man, we cover everything on this channel.
Yeah, I know, man.
Unlike other channels that are very one topic, I like to think that we cover a number of topics and anyone can join. And to me, I call it talk radio night only because before talk radio got hijacked by politics, anybody could call in and talk with the host about anything, whether it be a tractor that they're selling or the weather or a hobby that they did. Andy, how are you, sir?
I'm good, George. How are you?
Good. Where are you joining us from?
I'm from the Eastern Shore, Maryland.
Oh, okay, not too far from me. All right.
Yeah, I've been meaning to come up there, visit, get my haircut once it gets to be a little more gangly.
Yeah. What did you do all day today?
I worked on homework. It was pretty uneventful.
And what topic?
I'm working on a Homeland Security class. I'm 31 and finally getting around to finishing up school. So, Homeland Security and Emergency Management. Yeah.
Wow.
Good field.
Okay.
Good field.
Yeah, I'm enjoying. Not that I'm in the field, but classes have been fun. I mean, it's the first time I've enjoyed going to school, so that's good news.
What's your goal after you get out of school? What do you want to do? Do you want to work for Homeland Security?
I'm probably leaning more towards the emergency management side. I'm a lineman for a utility right now. I do pretty good in that, but I have some back issues, so I know it's short-lived. You know, if I get 5-10 more years out of that, I'd be happy. But I'd like to work for.
Is that from an accident, Andy?
Yeah, training. I was in the Army and I got banged up and had to get surgery and ended up getting the boot for that. So just keeping at it.
Yeah.
Andy, I spent 5 years in the Joint Terrorism Task Force. I went in right after 9/11. And
Really?
yeah, in fact, I kind of started on 9/11. Back then, the learning curve was vertical. And I did my coursework through the FBI's virtual academy. They were having to train so many people, they created an online course and in both foreign and domestic terrorism. Of course, back then, the emphasis was on Muslim extremist terrorism, jihadi. And I parlayed my work in Medicaid fraud working on doctors from the Mideast who were over here ripping off the Medicaid program and sending the money back overseas to fund foreign terrorist organizations.
That seems to be a common theme. Even, just hurricanes and all that. There's always there's always going on. People money gets sent out to help people and governments and infrastructure, and it just time and time again. You read the after action reports, and it's always an issue.
Mm-hmm. And fraud investigation is really interesting work. It's not you won't see it on Top Cops or anything. There won't be a show, Ride with Us on the trail of the dirty duck and the Medicaid fraud unit. That dog don't hunt.
Yeah, right.
We're more of a quiet in the background, a lot of analytical work, a lot of field work to make a case. It can take up to 2 years, like from the time I would get a complaint to the time I was in a courtroom, going through the system and tracking it through. And but that's what I enjoyed about my work, was I got to take it from an anonymous phone call or tip all the way to the sentencing gavel, and work with the prosecutors, do the trial prep. I often sat table with the prosecutor as lead agent, and most of my case, in fact, all of my fraud cases were federal. The only thing I took on state were drug diversions of prescription narcotics. Mostly nursing homes was where we were making all the bus for that, which was really had some tragic consequences for everybody. But that's what I did. I did that for 15 years and then 5 years in the JTTF after 9/11. And it was compelling work. And I still do consulting to a certain degree with some people. I'll get a phone call now and then and say, "Hey, old timer, how did you guys do this?"
Yeah. Hey,
so
Dave,
it's a good
you got a bonfire going on or what?
It's Saturday night.
It's the Saturday night bonfire in Ohio.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Everyone's doing good here. What do you got going on there?
To burn a big stump out.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting.
Nice way to spend it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, at least the fire will keep you warm.
Okay. It sure does.
Ian, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. Would you get a haircut?
A little bit. Yeah.
I could tell. It looks good.
I was gonna say I'm in the security and investigations industry, and my job is nowhere near as exciting as how that just sounds.
Well, it's not that exciting. The most thing you hear is paper cut, man down. What? Oh.
Paper cut.
Yeah, the most exciting I hear is call out.
Yeah, right.
George, when did you ever used to smoke cigars, or when did you start smoking pipes? I know you've been smoking them for a while, but did you ever?
Yeah. I think cigars were the gateway drug to pipes.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think the pipe thing was a solo thing. You know, it's not like a lot of guys can sit around a fire pit and smoke cigars and whatever, but a pipe, I think, is more of a tool for the solitary man.
I would agree.
When you're reading, when you're working, I mean, a pipe is great for reading or watching a video or just sitting quietly, you know, because you can't hurry it, you can't rush it. So, and if you puff it too much, it burns too hot and it distorts the flavor of the tobacco. So, yeah.
I have a funny story about that, George. When I
Go
started getting into pipes a couple of years ago, and it started with cigars for me too. And I was just trying to get the basics of it, you know, just YouTubing like how to light it, how to keep it lit, how to puff it. And I came across your channel. And around that time, I was looking into beard tips too, because I was just starting to grow out my beard a couple of years ago, and you had the big beard at that time.
Big beard.
Yeah, and I was, and your pipe videos were like when your beard was like what you have like now, and I wasn't paying any attention to channel names or anything, and then I just kind of one day I just started putting it together. It was like, wait, pipe dude is also beard dude, and he's also the daybreak dude, and I was just like, boom, mind blown. It's like, this is great. This is everything I need in one channel. I love it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, nobody can ever accuse us of being a single subject here. I like to think that there's something for everybody at my channel. I mean, there's times when there's a lot of women that will join in the conversation, and I never thought in a million years that women would ever follow my channel. I just thought, like, why would they be interested in a guy smoking a pipe or, you know, someone talking about beards or haircuts or something like that? And then, and I have to admit that the ladies that have joined us have been some of the most sane women I've ever seen, and it's been a good experience. You know, in a world where there's a lot of crazy, I feel fortunate to have the females that follow this channel are these decent gals, you know?
Yeah, that's hard to find nowadays. There's a lot of I hate to generalize, but I feel like there's this endemic thing in our society now where a lot of women have, there's no way to say this without sounding offensive, fuck it. A lot of women have assumed power in families that's sort of misplaced, and it's not their fault because I think it's part of abdication of power by men, and it's a power vacuum.
You're right. And that's, you know, I've always said this too. If a man does not play his God-given role in a relationship, the woman will step in, but she will also end up resenting the man if she has to play the role of decision maker, bill payer. If she's got to decide where they're going to go for dinner or where the car is going to get fixed, you know, that kind of thing. And many men wonder why their women resent them. And men have to man up, and women have to feminine up. And that's really I think that's the answer.
Yeah, that's good. I like that the video. Actually, the reason I kind of jumped on today too, I saw you posted one recently, George. I don't know, maybe it was within the past week, about basically calling out your friends or, you know, your close group about, you know, not doing it in a judgy way or condemning them, but like supporting them and trying to help them out. I thought that was a really good video. And I mean, everybody on this call has a friend or somebody that they know that could use some help. So I thought it was.
I was so impressed. I was so impressed because I gave everybody a homework assignment, and I said, reach out to a friend who you haven't talked to in a long time, and just say, hey, man, I was thinking about you. You know, and you came across my mind, and just how you doing? What's going on? You know, and with COVID, everybody being isolated, what's fascinating is that when you open up a channel like this, and I do this with no agenda, we're not talking about any. It's like we only talk about whatever comes up. This is kind of like a gathering around the fire pit, where we talk about whatever we want, you know. And I think this is. I mean, it's a poor, how can I put it? It's the next best thing to meeting face to face, actually physically being with a friend. This is the next best thing. You know, it's a viable substitute. Meeting face to face is always better, but something like this coming online live, where I see I don't allow emoji faces to come on, or anime faces, or just people who won't turn on their camera. You're not allowed on the stream because, you know, we claim to keep it real here. And how can you keep it real if there's an anime face or an emoji for a profile picture? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, George, you had somebody on. I just watched it maybe a week ago. I'm not sure how old the video was. It may have only been a month or two. And I can't remember the guy's name. I know his nickname is the Dean, I think. And he was like
Steve Williams.
Steve Williams, yeah. And
yes,
I checked out some of his stuff, and some of it isn't for me, and some of it is. I can say the biggest thing that I got out of it, and your conversation with him, was just being true to yourself, and making that the be all end all. Everything else comes after that.
Yes.
And I can say that would have helped me probably this time last year, more so before the COVID disruptions happened, and, you know, personal things. And it's been a rough year, COVID aside, even recently. So that's something I got from your guys' conversation that really came to the forefront. And make yourself your priority. And I've never been one to do that.
Yeah. You know, Steve, I met Steve a couple years ago, and we hit it off pretty well. And we are going to continue our collaborations like that. He's down in Texas, and he's got his own shtick. He's got his whole thing that he does, and I have the thing that I do. But when he and I come together, it does create some great content. And you know, we come from different worlds, but we're both men. And, you know, and the conversation just works. So we decided, because of that chemistry, that we're going to continue doing that. And it really is, I'm pretty happy with it. And so we are going to keep doing that. Yeah.
I'm glad. I really enjoyed it. Honestly, if I had known of him and watched his videos before you talking, I would have never guessed that you guys would do a collaboration of any sort.
We are the odd couple.
That hour and a half video you guys had together was awesome. It might be one of my favorite ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time I do a collaboration with somebody, it's not always a you know, you're not always. It's not always the perfect combination of personalities. So, for instance, I threw the link to tonight's meeting up in a group of men, a group that I belong to, and Terrence Pop came on and spent the first hour with us, and that was wonderful. And I only met Terrence twice before, and I spent last weekend with him in Las Vegas. And you know, if you just watch his channel, he has a certain persona and a certain tempo that he has on when he teaches. But when I met with him in person, I encountered a man that was compassionate, tender-hearted, has a mission and a heart for men and their issues, and that's all I need. That's all I need. So I threw that link out, and he came on tonight, and that was wonderful.
Let me ask you guys something. What would you think of a podcast that started that you go out at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I would call it the Insomniac Night Stalker channel. And you're out at 3 o'clock in the morning going to places that are open, visiting the fire station at 3 a.m., going to Denny's and seeing what kind of critters hang out at the Walmart and Denny's and everything like that, interviewing hookers on the street, talking to people in Denny's at 3 o'clock in the morning. What do you think? You think that would be kind of interesting?
I'd have to set my alarm for it.
Well, no, I would put it in a better... I might do it live and then rebroadcast it during the day at a more civilized hour for the normal people.
Yeah. Normal people. That's great.
I don't know. There used to be a TV show called Insomniac. I don't know if you remember that.
I think I remember that. I do remember that.
And the guy, I think he only lasted a season or two, and I think he had to quit because he became sort of an alcoholic, or his liver gave out on him or something. But he was always in these...
that show.
Yeah.
That was Dave Attell.
Well, someone in the chat.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. It was Dave Attell. Yes. Yep. One guy in the chat says the Waffle House. Yeah, I could see a show called Waffle House Live. And I mean, because it's all, think about it. If you go to the Waffle House in the middle of the night, it's always filled with characters.
Oh, yeah. And people coming on and off work.
That would actually be I could see the Waffle House being like a sponsor for that. You know,
it all depends on who you're interviewing.
Right.
What I like about Waffle House is they don't have to have any security because the cooks will just come out and beat your ass.
or the other patrons, right? You know.
Yeah, right.
I went to get waffles in a fight, or I went to watch a fight and ended up eating waffles. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But I've seen some crazy. I mean, because I used to have to travel a lot and drive all across Texas all hours of the day and night. You see some pretty wild stuff. And truck stops at 3 o'clock in the morning are hysterical. And we played a joke one time. We had to light out of Del Rio, Texas at about 4 o'clock in the morning to make it to San Antonio to go to court. And I was with an FBI agent, a good friend of mine. And there's a custom or immigration checkpoint in Brackettville, Texas, right at just below the 50-mile borderline to where they can set up. And we hit this thing, and we were behind an 18-wheeler. And the week before, I'd been on vacation and had gone to New Mexico to go skiing at Ski Apache. And you go through that town where Area 51 or the alien, I can't remember the name of the town. And I'd bought Roswell, exactly. And I'd bought some alien masks. Right? And so I looked over at the guy who I'll remain nameless because he now has a good position in the FBI. I don't want to embarrass him. And we put on these alien, and I told him, I said, you ain't got a hair on your tuchus if you don't put this mask on with me.
Yeah, right.
And so we put these masks on and we roll up, and the immigration guy, yeah, there you go, George. Yeah, kind of like that. And we roll up.
I need glasses.
There you go. You're a smart, whatever that is. And we roll up, right? We're behind 18-wheelers, so they don't see us. And we roll up, and the immigration guy goes, you guys citizens? And we're like, no. And he looked down in the car and went, go over there. And they had us out of the car, and we're really not real happy with us. And, we're trying to reach back for our creds, pull our stuff and badges out and everything. And because that's one time where we needed our stinking badges, man. And
right.
Once we identified everything, they thought I was pretty funny, but, doing stuff like that, this kind of like in-house cop humor kind of thing, the jokes we play on each other, and everything can be really brutal.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Really brutal. And it's just fun. I don't know what you guys do in your industry or businesses, professions to prank other guys, your colleagues, but there's so much leeway with the law enforcement guys.
I'm a lineman, and I know it's probably against OSHA somewhere in the books, but there's stories of some of the older guys when you're up in the bucket working on a line that's hot. You can barehand it as long as you're isolated. So the old guys grab the line with one hand, and when you're not looking, they'll take their finger and touch the back of your ear with the other hand and give you a good little pep. Yeah, it gets worse than that, but I keep that to myself though.
Well, diving too, we had all kinds of really bad jokes we'd play on guys. Like we'd have newbies come out, they just right out of dive school and stuff, and you'd be working on deck and things are fast and furious, and you turn around and say, I need a diver's long weight, go get it. And this guy, what is it? I said, you don't know, you just got out of dive school, you know what a diver's like. And you just start, go get that weight. And so they go around and they'll come back with something, okay?
Yeah.
And you just have them stand behind you. You ignore them for a good half hour. And then you'll turn around and say, you waited long enough yet? What? And I said, your diver's long wait. You're waiting, right? You waited long enough yet? And they're like, oh. Or decompression, letting some newbie diver, because you don't do your own decompression in the water. It's all run from the surface. The supervisor's tracking it. And so you convince the diver that he had decompression time. And we did SIR DO2. You come up to about 30 feet, and after your 30-foot stop, you jerk straight up to the surface, scramble, jump in a chamber, and then get blown back down to 60 feet and brought back out again. Okay? In a controlled manner. And because in the North Sea, that 30-foot to surface, you can't control, you can have a 20-foot fluctuation just in swells. So, you're going to get bent if you're trying to do in-water decompression. And so you convince the kid he's got decompression, you jerk him up, throw him in the chamber, he's in there, you got him going through the whole drill, and say, hey, would you like a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or something? Yeah. And you open the door and hand it to him, and then shut the door behind you, and see how long it takes him to figure out that, wait, I'm not under pressure? What? because you make them think they're in decompression the whole time, and you can't open a door to a chamber and hand something to them. Do stuff like that to guys. That's the stuff. That's the stuff I can talk about openly.
Yeah. Well, every industry has its little pranks that they play on rookies and the newbies. That's always fun. I mean, I remember in Boy Scouts, the new scouts, when we'd go on a camping trip, they were the new guys were told, "Oh gosh, we need a left-handed smoke drifter." I don't know if any of you remember that. And we don't have one. Can you go over to the next camp and see if they have one? So the new scout would go over to the other campground and say, "Yeah, we're looking for a left-handed smoke drifter. Do you have any?" And of course, the scoutmaster would know what was going on there, and they'd say, "Oh man, we don't have one either. But if you go over to that campground, they might have one over there." So, and of course, every sports team, every scouts. I saw a video the other day where a guy told his girlfriend that he needed blinker fluid, and he pulled into like an automotive supply place and said, "Honey, can you go in and get some blinker fluid? The blinkers aren't working." So she went in, and of course the guys at the desk, had fun with her or whatever, and then she came back out and she goes, "I'm gonna kill you." So, but there we go. BB says, "I need some blinker fluid." The wife used to fall for it. So that's great.
Now, what would have been crazy if she would have actually come out with a bottle marked blinker fluid?
That would be great. I know.
Reverse it back.
Exactly.
Oh.
But I think that's a kind of a fun trick to play on people, I think. How about that one where I think it went viral, where there's a person in the passenger seat sleeping, and they parked in front of a tractor trailer, facing them, and the guy driving said, "Oh my God, oh my God," and the person woke up seeing like a big tractor trailer, like 10 feet in front of them, and they started screaming, and of course it's all on video. It went viral for a while there, but it was pretty funny.
Yeah, or like if an 18-wheeler cab's being the cab's being towed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Always crazy stuff, man. I think the most elaborate stunt we ever pulled was we dressed a dummy up in a suit and tie, and we were doing interviews, and the interviewee was sitting so they were looking out the window, could see out the window, and the interviewer had his back to the window, and we threw the dummy off the roof, and it passes by the window, and the lady being interviewed freaks out, runs, and we had guys down below and another guy in the same kind of suit down below, and you drag the dummy in and put the guy down, and he gets up and dusts himself off and walks away.
Yeah, right.
From like a 10-story building, and it's just and doing all this. And now, while not a joke, still fun, we set up a surveillance camera inside an office, and we caught a guy coaching someone to commit fraud and all this. And we're in there, and he's like denying it. And we go over to the box and pull the camera out. And my partner goes, "Roll that lovely beam footage," Just showing,
Yeah.
you know, no, this is what you said. I'm sure of it, you know.
Right.
And he just confessed. It was just like he just put his head down, and but the way he said, you know, from the old what was it, Being commercial, roll that beautiful Being footage, and we used to have a little bit of sadistic humor. You know, you catch somebody outright, and sometimes it's pretty funny. Pretty funny stuff.
Amrit is with us. Hey, Amrit in the chat. How are you? Jump on, man. Jump on. Click a link. There's a link up there. Click it. Whoever clicks the link can come on. Open forum. There's no rules except just keep it positive, and that's it.
Hey, George, can we talk about a podcast you did the other day?
Sure. Sure.
The one on castration and the guy who was talking about wanting to castrate himself. That was a really interesting conversation. A little disturbing.
I think he's actually watching tonight. I think he's in the chat, if I'm not mistaken. But he was one who sent me an email, and I didn't obviously. When people write me, I try not to like give up their identity or say a name. I want to help people maintain anonymity. And one person said to me, they said, "Oh, it's April 1st. That was April Fool's thing."
Yeah,
I don't think it was. I don't think it was, because when I read the full email, I mean, it could be I could have got punked. Who knows? But the reality was, there are castration forums. Isn't that crazy? There's actually a forum somewhere. I didn't look it up, but castration forums about men who voluntarily, and that's different than a vasectomy. Castration is literally removing your testicles. Medically,
you can reverse
like
a vasectomy.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, having your testicles surgically removed in order to stop your sex drive. That's a
Doesn't
trip,
work.
Huh?
What?
It doesn't work. Yeah.
He actually, because he said that all of his trouble that he ever had was from women, and women always got him in trouble, and he felt like.
But don't talk to him. Why would you mutilate yourself?
Exactly. Right.
Exactly. Well, you need a psychological castration.
Yeah, quit watching porn.
Right. Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah, you know, but I mean, let's face it.
Testosterone controls a lot more than just sex drive.
Oh yeah.
It gives us. It's what makes us a man. It gives us our assertiveness. It makes us strong. Yeah.
You know, you look at I think the problem, some of it is you say like his problem is women, he's addicted to women. Is he really addicted, or is he just trying too hard, and you get rejected and you try again, you get rejected, and you find yourself spending money, and you end up in the cam girl circuit, you end up in all these different things. And I mean, you know, I was just watching some documentaries on the Ukrainian bride thing, where guys from the US and Britain go over to Ukraine on these bride trips. And they get on these websites, and it costs them $10 to send a letter, $10 to receive a letter. I mean, some guy had spent $9,000 communicating with this woman in Ukraine, then another $2,000 or $3,000 to go on the trip to meet her, and she doesn't show up.
Yeah.
And
I think I heard about that on the news.
And the company, they're like, well, we try to police it, but you know, we have so many people, we can't police everything. And they didn't try to make him whole or do anything. It's just like, you know, and this poor schlepp's out $10,000 for what? Yeah, I'd want to cut him off too.
Well,
you know.
That's right. It's another way that men can be manipulated, but those guys don't want to listen to anybody because they're thinking with the wrong head, you know, and it's yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
And the cam girl thing is even crazier. I actually looked into it for another content creator, a guy named Connor Klein out of Ukraine, who does a real good channel there on dating culture and everything in Ukraine and Belarus and you know, through Eastern Europe. And, you know, I got into discussions and he asked me, you know, can you look into it because you have a background? And so I did. And it was very interesting because these girls go to school. They get coached. Yeah. They have apartment buildings that are cut up into multi-use rooms. They go to work there. They work a shift. They have makeup, costume.
They're basically online strippers. You know, a good stripper can make a lot of money if they know how to hustle a guy. And so many guys are willing to part with their cash in these clubs. I've had 2 women on this channel who are friends of mine. You may have seen the interviews that I've had with them. One is a very good friend of mine who's a former dancer, former stripper, and they know how to work men. They know how to work them, and they end up with a stack of cash by the end of the night. You
And
know.
you know, they're not all the starving college students either.
That is correct.
That's a dirty business, and very few women get out of it unscathed.
Yeah, that's true. The one gal that I know that did it, what she did was she raised money to create a film studio, and that's what she does, or that's what she did, and now she's an actress, a producer, a director, but her seed money, no pun intended, was literally from the strip clubs. Yeah.
When I was in college, I made $700 one night. You know, they used to have the little bear strip clubs for, you know, the guys go dance for the girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got $250 to show up and another $500 to keep my clothes on. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
They
you know,
they paid you to stay dressed.
Yeah. No, don't. No more. Leave it on. Jesus, God, cover your face. Good God.
The money was flying.
I'm telling you, it was great. And I, you know, bought this, you know, and anyway, it was, but no, it's the cam girl industry, I found out, is $1 billion a year industry.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
They have their own awards. They have their own awards and Miss Cam Girl Ambassador, and these girls are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Let's remember, I mean, porn drove the development of the internet.
Yeah.
It's a big industry, like whether it's cams or just outright porn.
Yeah.
You know,
that's so
yeah.
True. That is so true.
But and now during COVID, so many women get laid off work or can't work or whatever.
Right.
You know, for less than $1,000, you're in business. Uh-oh. There he is.
We're back.
Oh, I thought you two got
Welcome back.
The feminist went, oh my God, they're talking about women. Click.
They're waiting. They're waiting for that one little word where he slips up, and then they're moving in.
Exactly. Exactly. There's somebody in the waiting room called Rock Rider. You need to have your camera on if you want to come on. I don't allow anonymous people to come on. So if you turn your camera on, you're certainly welcome to join in the conversation. So, yeah.
No, but this castration business, I mean, all kidding, no kidding put aside at all. There's nothing to joke about because, you know, there's been that whole uptick in people wanting to be disabled and lopping off a perfectly good hand or arm, or there's a name for it.
Mentally ill.
Yeah,
Right.
well, I think that's the general umbrella.
Hey, Athena, why don't you join us? Athena is in, isn't she in Austin, Texas?
Sounds familiar.
I think she's in Austin, if I'm not mistaken. We had one broadcast one night where I think were 3 or 4 people that were from Texas. Minister of Time Travel, how are you, sir?
Great. Got my internet sorted out. Glad to be back.
Good to have you back, man.
One of the things that I really enjoy is those midnight strolls through the shopping malls that you've done. And I've just thought that's so cool. I bought an electric bike, you know, which doesn't have a throttle. You have to pedal. And I've been more serious about my health. And it's been a lot of fun. But I think about your videos when I'm out there.
You know, it's so funny because I'm thinking of purchasing an e-bike, and I think that I would get out more often if I had it. I think I would ride longer. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm deluding myself. Terry, why don't you join us? Rucker, you're in Alabama, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Terry, that's in the chat. She's in Alabama. Yep.
Awesome.
Oh, speaking of bikes, did you see where Pete what's his name, Buttigieg or Booty Call, whatever his name is, the new director of
Secretary of Transportation.
Yeah, got caught offloading his bicycle, his security detail, so he could get the photo shoot of him riding to work on his bicycle.
Photo shoot, yeah, imagine that.
I mean, and they're out of the way, and someone got some video of them unloading his bicycle, and he's got his little bike helmet on. This is our Secretary of Transport in America. Yeah, thanks, pal. You know, I don't think, unless you can double clutch an 18-wheeler, you have no business in that position.
Right.
It reminds me. Have you ever seen the picture of the Minister of Health for Belgium?
Oh,
yes.
I implore everyone to Google that right now. Get yourself a good laugh.
Our deputy health minister's not exactly what you want to call the beacon of nutrition and health.
Yeah, exactly.
As a side, I might not be the best example of time travel or astral projection.
Right. Hey, Rutger, meet Terry, both in Alabama.
Terry, what's going on? What part
Rutger.
are you in?
We're in. I'm in Dothan.
Dothan. Okay.
Where
Yeah,
are
you're
you
a
at?
little ways from me. I'm up in Huntsville in Madison County.
Oh, oh, nice. Very nice. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'm
so
closer to the
you're
beach.
a good. Yeah, you're a good four-ish hours south of me.
Yes. Yeah. Have you been doing okay with the tornadoes?
Yep. Well, we got lucky. There was one in a few counties over. Nothing
Okay.
bad here. The Birmingham area got it really bad.
Yes, they did. I have some friends up there.
Yeah. Uh, but it's been bad in years past. My high school was actually hit twice when I was there, back-to-back years. And what's crazy, people talk about these tornado paths where they're more apt to go, where they've been there before, and they always follow a track. And I can attest to that because our school got hit twice in the exact same spot. It hit the science wing and went right through the teacher's parking lot.
Oh my.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so all the teachers got new cars 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I'm further away from Enterprise, and they seem to like to hit Enterprise a lot in my area.
Yeah, didn't they? Enterprise got like flattened, like completely.
Yeah, the high school was just totally obliterated.
Yeah, I remember that. I was just a kid, but I still remember it.
Yeah, and that was before I moved up from Florida, so I figured this was far enough away from there that it shouldn't be in that. I'm in a little sweet spot where when hurricanes come, it's just like a minor tropical storm at best. The tornadoes seem to avoid this little area that I'm in, and we don't get floods here. So
yeah,
I'm jinxing myself because everything's going to happen. But
yeah.
Well, down here in Texas, you know what we say about a redneck divorce and a tornado?
No, what?
Either way, someone's losing a trailer.
That's a good one.
That is good. That's good.
That's what I mean. Cities,
Tanisha's with us. Tanisha from Chicago. Jump on.
Cities should put like dummy trailer parks around them.
Yeah,
kind of
right.
like hurricane bait and tornado bait, sort of preventative. I mean, how many times do you see the trailer park is just obliterated, right?
Yeah, right.
They always go for the easy targets.
Yeah, really.
They have no moral compass. It's a shame.
I remember watching, and I'm outing myself here. I remember watching Beavis and Butthead, and they were watching TV, and there was a weather report. A hurricane was coming, and Beavis turns to Butthead and said, a tornado. He said, "Quick, let's go find a trailer park." And that's one of my favorite episodes where they actually went to a trailer park on purpose.
That's great.
Or
it was pretty funny.
I was in Oklahoma City and at a hotel, and the tornado sirens went off, and I flipped on the news, and it's like, we got tornadoes going through such and such county, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, where am I? What county is this? Yeah. Jesus Christ. I'm calling down to the front thing. No one's answering. Where the hell am I?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's pretty
That's funny.
Yeah, it was an Iowa time, and there was a tornado that came through. I was working with a road show at a circus, and the tent actually just blew straight up, and it was like watching Wizard of Oz, where the tent, this is a 3-ring tent, and it's just up in the air, swirling around, and then comes back down all the poles and stuff. That was something I did.
Wow.
Hopefully you weren't under that, or under the big top.
No, I wasn't at that. It was weird because we were going to go there. Then we got the announcement, and so I wound up taking the stars of the show to the shelter, and because that was part of my job, was making sure the stars weren't killed.
Oh, interesting.
20 clowns in the back of your car and an elephant, right?
Yeah, right.
No, none of the clowns. They had to fend for themselves.
Right.
Hi, Tanisha. Oh no,
That's Athena from
Athena.
Austin, Texas.
Austin, yes.
Yeah. Hi, Terry.
Hi. How
Hi,
are you?
Minnie. Hi, Tanisha.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi.
Hey, neighbor.
Hey, John. We're going to meet up sometime.
The same rowdy crowd that was here last time is back again.
Yes.
That's right.
But I'm not at work, though. Yay, me.
Oh, good for you.
The feast of unleavened bread ended now. And so now I can eat a big burger. I want a big old tall thing of Coke. I want a burger and I want pizza.
You're making me hungry, but it's too late to eat for me. My gosh.
Yeah, it is too late, but I'm still in a feast, so I got an excuse.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but I think you're an hour or two.
An hour.
What time is it for you?
It's 8:18.
Yeah,
oh,
so
okay.
you're
So yep. So I'm just an hour past you.
Yeah.
Tanisha, how are you, dear?
Your mic's on. There it is.
Oh, here it is. Yes, I'm doing pretty good. This was a long week at the salon, so.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. We had people trying to walk in all day, every day. It was a little challenging, but I made it through.
Get ready for Easter service, girl. Get ready for Easter.
Yes. So.
Tanisha, you holding up?
I am holding up. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, I wasn't kidding with that comment I made the other day on your video about castration. I shared that to probably 20 people immediately because it was so good.
Wow.
And I listened to it like 3 times. So yeah, excellent video.
I mean, there are stories of men who literally cut their testicles off because they felt that they lusted too much, and then after they healed up, they discovered that they still lusted, and that lust has nothing to do with your physiology, but it has to do with your heart.
Absolutely.
This heart.
Yeah.
Here.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
It's funny when you put yourself out like this, like what I do. The emails and such that I get are, I mean, sometimes I think people are pranking me with their questions because I get every kind of question you can imagine. And so I decided to treat that seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope I did justice to the issue. So
actually you did. I've dealt with that myself, of having a lot of guys approach me about that. And your insight.
Wait, guys approach you about cutting their testicles off?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
and now for something completely different.
Can I make the shock face?
Yeah, right.
I would think New York Times best-selling book.
Yeah.
Wait, Terry, this is in a professional capacity, yes?
Somewhat. No.
Are you good with a knife or something, or what?
I am good with a knife. I can butcher things, but mainly it's guys that are submissives that wanted me to cut off their testicles because they thought that because I had skills of butchering that I would be able to do that.
Holy cow.
And I've,
pun intended.
Not just once, but I've had like 10 different guys approach me with this.
Amazing. All right, so
it's
you
not
are
good
a
for
dominatrix?
Business.
I used to be.
You used to be a dominatrix. All right. Okay. So now this is going to change the conversations tonight. Tell us about the world of the dominatrix.
It depends on what your specialty is. So like some of them are just beautiful girls that have guys that are kissing their boots and spending tons of money.
Yes.
and there, I have no disregard for what people decide to do. For me, I was actually working at a large size lingerie store. And because us fuller figure girls, especially when you have larger breasts, it's hard to find good bras. So I was a professional fitter of bras. And my boss discovered that there was a whole subculture of transvestites that were our main clientele.
Do you have to go for a training to be a bra fitter?
Yes. Yes. I went through training, and then I also have a theater background of making costumes. So that's why she hired me, because I custom corsets. So, and for me, it started.
So where can I go to this school? Can I sign up?
I don't know if they allow men to do it or not.
Okay. All
They're
right.
kind of sexist that way, because mainly it's fitting women for mastectomy bras, for different kind of fittings. So it's a very intimate, personal, female thing.
Right.
Well, then, as it got more transvestites and more transgender, then it's fitting the bra for the transgender person. So as they're transitioning from man to women. So I've gotten to meet a lot of people of different backgrounds. And because I'm able to, when I'm selling stuff, I have like a, you know, hey, you're buying from me. I'll sell you ice cubes, even if you live in an ice igloo.
Right.
You know, this is to sell this stuff.
Yeah.
And so I would get men that would come that either one, they were wanting to get rid of their testicles so they could reduce their manliness. I had other men that would approach me thinking that, well, I watch too much porn and I do this. And so as punishment, I need to be castrated.
Wow.
A lot of highly religious zealots would come in wanting to be castrated for punishment.
Wow.
And so I would have them sit down and we have a cup of tea and I would just talk to them. And it was the first time for having somebody just talk to them as a person. And so by talking to them and then trying to find out where their head was at,
right,
I could help them to accept who they were without having to mutilate their bodies. So it's almost like a therapist without this therapy degree, because of, you know, I just don't have the degree. But
you are
a therapist. It's like a therapist without a knife.
Exactly. But because of me being a survival, my dad, when we grow up, we all had to do a weekend in the woods with only a knife to survive.
Yeah.
That was his, like, his big thing was, you're going to have to survive if everything collapses. So that's how I learned.
That's kind of like that's like the daughter version of A Boy Named Sue or something, right?
Yeah. And here I am, Terry, with a Y. So does that explain any of it?
Yeah, right. All right, so let's get back to this dominatrix thing.
Okay.
Now I'm fascinated. All right, so that's a whole world all by itself, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And so how I got into it as the world of it was through this shop. We had parties for where people could wear their clothing that they purchased that was super sexy and everything else. Yeah. And this was in the early 90s, before internet and everything else really could take off. So I was selling a lot of latex outfits, which in South Florida, latex is super hot. So if you're in South Florida and you're wearing latex, you're going to want a place where you can go that it's air conditioned, so you can show off your expensive $500 outfit. Yeah. And that's when I started hosting these parties. Well, if you're hosting the parties, you're kind of looked at as the dominatrix. So I was always the friendly dominatrix. So all of my gear was all white, but my whips were all red. And I became, I'm an expert at rope tying because I was a rigger for theater. So I could suspend up to a 500-pound person and have them survive and enjoy their experience.
Folks, we talk about everything here. When I say open forum, I really meant it. Wow. Okay. We are boldly going where no man has ever gone before on this show.
Or at least the majority of us.
Right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
No, but being a dominatrix, I enjoy it because it's not a sexual thing for me.
Yes.
Yes, some people are having sexual release from it, but I'm not.
Yes.
Like, there was never any body fluids changing, anything like that. I think I've frozen up.
What I was going to say is that what I heard from all of that is that it was about love and compassion and treating the person as an individual, which was like so fascinating. This is so outside of my world, but my gosh, Terry, thank you for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, the whole thing of a dominatrix is you have to be able to listen, and you have to there's so much communication and trust in BDSM relationships because it's not abuse. And one of the things is understanding that if you're just beating on someone or mentally messing with their head, that's not what it's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be a consensual thing. Like 50 Shades of Grey is in the community vilified because it's non-consensual. He pulls out these contracts and he does everything with her without her signing the contracts, without her ever agreeing. So it's like, can we stop that, please? You know, and that's just abuse upon abuse. Whereas if somebody is like, perfect example, I have a super heavy flogger and it's out of 15 pounds of leather. And what I like about the flogger is that when you're using it on somebody, it's a deep thud, deep tissue massage. Right. So you can actually do it therapeutically where you're working out the back muscles and you're working out spasms with this flogger. But then again, you have to know your tools. And there's some floggers that are going to like whip the skin off, you know, and you have to be careful of that. Right. You have to learn your craft. It's like anything.
Well, I have a question for you. All right.
Okay.
You're a single woman, is that correct?
Correct.
All right. So when you meet a guy and he says, so what do you do in your free time? How do you answer that question?
I never bring up that I'm a dominatrix.
Okay.
I've been basically retired from the scene of having parties since 2019. And then COVID came for the perfect timing. It was like, okay, this is the last party. I'm retiring. I found people that could take over for me. And then COVID hit, so nobody was having parties anymore. And everything became virtual Zoom classes. So I've been doing.
So you are a virtual dominatrix.
At this point, yeah, because of COVID, yes. So I teach classes online now.
I need your contact information.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now this, listen, I'm rarely at a loss for words, but I will tell you this is wow. I didn't expect this, but is everybody interested in hearing more about this?
Yes.
I can't get over the fact that she had a flogger.
Tanisha. I know Tanisha is saying, what is going
not just
on?
A flogger,
what is
going What I got was skip the chiropractor, just go get flogged.
Okay.
I mean, if you have a 15-pound flogger, just bring the cow in and beat me with it. I mean, good gosh.
But it's so much different than that, though. It's different than that.
Yeah.
I was going to actually send you an email, George, because I really wanted to know your opinion about submissive dominant relationships. I was trying to see if I could score back through all your videos and see if you broached the subject at all. I am a dominant. I think it was probably accidental. But my screen name has been Goddess Topaz since I created it. It's an amalgamation of my name as Goddess plus my birthstone. So a lot of the men that approached me online just took it upon themselves to believe that I was a dominant. And I'm like, damn it, did I choose the wrong name? But it wasn't until the 2000s that happened. But opened up a part of me that I became curious about. In counseling, I became very curious about that because I was wondering why I couldn't get in relationships. And I was wondering why these kind of relationships appeal to me. And the funny thing is, I'm starting one with a man. He's a high quality man. He's a high value man. But I want to make it work. You know, he wants it 24/7, and so do I. It's like a perfect like synergy. We're just taking our time. But I wanted to know how you felt about those kind of relationships, and if you even saw that as a real relationship, and if you even thought that would work. And just full disclosure, I'm not ashamed of my sexuality. I am asexual. I am a woman who prefers bonding with a person before I beat them or kiss them. You know, either or. But I've had to suppress that part of me just so I can get along in the vanilla world, just so I can have a boyfriend, just so I can have a man. And it just doesn't seem to work because I haven't been honest, I guess, about that. Well, anyway, that's all I have to say.
No, that's beautiful.
That's very interesting. Terry, why don't you address that topic tonight while I readjust myself in my chair here?
Okay. Athena,
all of the men are like shifting in their chairs right now.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
That's all right. That's all right. Go ahead, Terry.
Okay. Athena, it can be, I've seen it. I've seen dominant women with submissive men, or even just a switch, but it's that connection between the two people is what matters. I understand not telling and trying to go for vanilla, figuring that that's something that you have to hide. The fact that you're embracing it now, you'll find more high quality men now. And a lot of times men that have very high pressure, high stress jobs want somebody else to be in control.
Oh, for sure.
Right. Yeah, I'm dealing with a banker. I'm with a European banker now.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Most of my people are doctors, lawyers, high Fortune 500 company CEOs, things of that nature. I don't look like a dominatrix. When you see me in every day, it's like I look like PTA mom, and that's on purpose. You know,
right?
Because you don't put it out there.
Is that like the hot librarian or something?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a fetish fantasy kind of, but it's more or less a release versus being the object of the fantasy. There is, because to me, psychologically, the submissive is the one in actual charge of the session, because they can be a total ass and want to get beat all the time. And I'm like, I'm not into that. You know, mind your manners or you're going to get out, you know. I don't play like that. But more or less of the agreement to please and worship and to serve, you know, I love that. As a woman, that appeals to me. But as a dominant, I know it's necessary for my partner to have that. He wants to get a tattoo of him. I'm Jewish. I don't believe in tattoos, but I'll give you a sigil. I said, we'll create a sigil. I don't want to have property of a goddess topaz on your ass when I'm fucking you. You know, I just want to just be a regular ass. You know, I might come off that ledge, but yeah. Full disclosure. Sorry about that, y'all. I'm sorry. I forgot y'all were there. Sorry.
That's quite all right. But I'll be honest with you, this is the first time I've ever seen Tanisha completely quiet.
Ladies, just
Tanisha,
so you know.
What are your thoughts, Tanisha?
Well, okay. So one of the things that Terry said was very profound, and thank you for sharing what you shared, Athena. You said, and this was, I think it was before you started talking about details when it came to your, you know, you're helping people with bra fitting and so forth. I think you were talking about how the guys that would come to you asking about castration, that they were comfortable talking to you because you accepted them for who they were, and you helped them to accept themselves for who they were. And I think that I will say that this is all very relevant to what we're doing here, because in order to change, you got to accept yourself for where you are.
Exactly.
And so I like that it's a lot of self-acceptance going on in this conversation. And I'm just listening and learning. That's all.
Well, ladies,
I'm glad I was able to
be honest, after seeing The Flying Nun on TV, I'm not shocked by a lot. So I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good.
And if we meet one day, just don't be afraid of me. I'm not going to try to do anything.
And,
well, that's right. You guys are both in Austin, so Athena,
Right.
you'll have to show him where the local dungeon is. You know.
I have to find it myself. I'm not into swing. I'm not into that scene though. I'm not into.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but there are parties. There are lots of parties at the lake. That's Lake Travis.
It's a hot scene there.
Oh yeah, hot is that area.
Wow. Wow.
We have the infamous Hippie Hollow at Lake Travis, George, which is a pretty well-known nude area on the lake.
Yeah.
And not only just in the Austin region, apparently it's pretty universal around.
Yeah.
And I went there to go get nude once, and they pushed me back, saying, "Look, the alpha whale has beached itself. Push it back."
Yeah.
It was terrible, man. I almost drowned out there.
So Terry, well, first of all, I'll never forget the first time I heard someone say, "Men, you need to know that women think about these things too, and that they're not all prudes, and when they're put into a safe environment where they're not going to be mocked or whatever, a woman will talk about anything." So number one, thank you for talking about that, Terry. Did you ever think it was weird at first, or is it something you have to get used to? I'm asking for a friend. Everyone's asking for a friend tonight.
It was kind of like the woman that I worked for. She was very smart.
Yeah.
It was more like a frog in lukewarm water. So I wasn't just thrown in and shot. So it was little bits. And of course, coming from a background, you know, yeah, Peter Pan flies. Okay, fine. Now we have somebody that's, you know, trying from a photographer.
Interesting.
Was doing photo shoots. So like she would get in the new course and new shoes and stuff like that. And so I would do my first photo shoot was the guy there who was tied up and wearing all this leather on and a ball gag and a pod. And photos that I'm working on making sure. So
can everybody mute their microphones, please? Unless you're talking. Everyone mute your microphones. Great, thank you.
Okay. So when I'm in photographer mode, I'm kind of removed from the situation, so I can have an objective eye and look at it more of what is the camera going to give us at the end.
Okay.
And so the fact that I was there with the codpiece with ball gag and she's whipping him and everything else, it was a little bit. I had to really put that space between myself and what I was photographing, because I was shocked, but I couldn't show that.
How are you dressed while you're doing this?
At the photo shoot, I was just wearing my normal photo clothes of black jeans and a black turtleneck because I don't want to reflect any colors. So
right,
it was truly just me in photographer mode. And then when I was at the first party, I was wearing, it was a
oh dang.
She'll be back. That was a lot of technical issues. She need to come back fresh.
I was going to say, man, you can't You got to finish me, man. You can't let it go like that.
Hear this.
She gave you a rim job and left you with blue balls.
I was gonna say, man, this is. You can't be talking like that and then just leave. You can't do that. Okay, I think she's coming back.
I have interesting on the subject of castration. Something sparked in my head. I remembered something. Back
go ahead.
in the 1700s, there was a type of opera singer called a castrato, and they would take young boys before they reach puberty and castrate them so that their voice would not change. And they sang in the mezzo soprano, soprano, or contralto of an opera.
Interesting.
Now, talking about suffering for your art.
Yes.
We talk about everything here. Nothing is off
Actually,
limits.
I don't
Holy
think.
cow.
I wonder how much of that was voluntary.
I don't think any of it was voluntary. I think there were orphans. I think they were foundlings, and they were taken in by the church and then sold off. And that's what they used some of them for.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So, okay.
All right.
But it just something sparked
Terry,
about that.
Terry, if somebody here wants to get involved in that, how do you recommend, what would you say to them?
Well, there's a website, FetLife, that is pretty good for people to go into as far as seeing what's involved. That's a good question. That's a really good question. I would suggest you find a local munch. And what a munch is, it's a lunch.
A what?
A munch. M-U-N-C-H.
A munch?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what a munch is, it's a vanilla meeting, like you meet at a restaurant, coffee shop, somewhere out in public.
Yeah.
And usually the people that are running it have been kind of vetted by the community as being a safer way of meeting other people. Because you don't want to just meet somebody off the back pages or off of Craigslist or something like that, because that's where you get yourself killed. That was part of my education. Was we would have the police come in and ask forensics because there was a murder and the person that was murdered had this on them. So did we sell this? Did we know who sold it? And that's how they would find who killed these people and stuff. So again, it is a dangerous thing. I got it. The best thing I would suggest is read Jay Wiseman's book, S&M 101. That is like, he used to be a paramedic and a police officer and all this other stuff. And his book is like a really great Bible to go to. And it's not like, it's not over the top. It's just factual. Like, if you're going to be choking someone, it only takes 1 ounce of pressure to kill them when you're choking them. So you got to be careful of the carotid artery. You have to know anatomy if you're going to, do choking. He actually goes into the safety procedures, like never meet somebody for the first time without having a safe call. And this is for men and women. So you want to have it where you have somebody that knows that you're going to meet this person. So then they can give you a call 5 minutes into the meeting. How's it going? And then you have a code word, and so you could start talking about the weather and they know you're in trouble. And that's how you can keep your safety going. I'm really, really big on being safe. Do not go and do anything that you haven't done before is considered risk. Where there's a thing called safe, sane, and consensual. And you have your safe words.
Yes.
People think the safe words have to be complicated, like pineapple or no. It's a simple of red, yellow, and green. Green is everything's a go. Everything's fine. You check in with your partner, and if it's yellow, then you change things around. It might be that you have them sitting in a position where their foot's going numb, or it could be as simple as they just need a drink of water. or they just don't, they want it changed a little bit. And then red is stop, no go, everything stops at that point.
So, all right. So is this about, is it about sex? Is it about orgasm? Or no?
It can be.
It can be.
It can be. Correct. It depends on the relationship that the two people have.
Okay. Okay. And
because
do you find... Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, because when you have sex with somebody and it's part of your scene and that's part of what's been negotiated, then you can have a different kind of endorphins and different chemicals between the two people. Some people have where they have play partners, but there's never any bodily exchange of fluids. You don't become fluid bonded to somebody. So it's basically, you know, I play with certain people at a party where I have them tied up to a cross and I'm giving them, you know, a workover and stuff, but it's more like being a massage therapist or a chiropractor at that point, because you're not intimately involved. Like, you're intimate that you're touching somebody, but you're not sexually intimate, if that makes sense.
Right. Right. Okay.
Once you start getting bodily fluids involved, for me personally, that's my personal intimate relationships. And so I don't have anybody share fluids with me. That's just me as a person, you know, and that's part. It's. I look at it as a professional ethic. It's kind of like psychiatrists don't sleep with their patients.
Right.
So it's that same kind of thing. I know.
Right.
George's safe word, chopstick. Yeah.
So if I say vortex, that means just
it's
go
not a
for
safe
it,
word. I'll keep on going for it.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Unless it was agreed upon beforehand.
Okay. All right. All right. Who has a question for Terry? Go ahead, John.
I have a, and this is kind of a relating to my background. Is I've noticed, is there a trend toward this choking business and slapping around and roughhousing? Because that almost, and not necessarily in the world you're talking about, but in sort of a general way.
Become, among the millennials, it's become a new way of getting sexual excitement to the next level up. So a lot of them aren't looking at it as BDSM or that kind of relationship, but they take aspects of the danger of that to help them feel alive. So you have a lot of people.
Explain, what does BDSM mean?
Bondage, discipline, sadism, masochism.
Okay. Where the second half of the question is, what's to prevent one of the partners from making allegations of assault or rape? Like, you know, you have the guilty, oh God, what was I doing? And, oh no, and how did you get those marks? Oh, he raped me. And she's got marks on her neck and bruising on herself or
she raped him. Women have to be just as careful.
No, I understand.
Yeah. I mean, so it goes both ways. No, what happens these days is if you're in the lifestyle, then people have like written contracts. They have different kind of ways of dealing with this to protect themselves. There's a part before you actually lay hands on somebody or you actually do anything. As a smart dominant, you will have them do a verbal or some kind of negotiation, and you save that on your phone. So that way you have documentation that this was gone into willingly and there was no coercion involved. Because
will that hold up in court?
It does hold up in a court of law. But it's only for that one particular instance.
No, so I understand. Yeah.
Where you have with somebody, and then let's say you both pass out, and then you go back at it again. there was not a renegotiation for that second time, that can be considered unconsensual.
Right.
Wow.
The contract is an expiration date contract.
Correct.
Or
It's
expiration
just that
time
one scene.
incident.
Now, when you're
Right.
in a relationship with somebody, it goes under a different legalities, and it depends on the state that you're in. Every state is different. So, like in Alabama, you cannot give oral sex. It's against the law. Now, we all know that people are having oral sex all over the place, but then it's prosecuting, and because in Alabama it's considered a felony. And it's one of those, it's one of those laws that's kept on the books, mainly to be used with with children and with unconsensual, but it's still on the books. So you have to be aware of what is legal and illegal in your own state, and that's really important. It's the old KISS, cover your ass.
Right.
So like when I lived in Florida, it's very different laws down there than there are up here in Alabama. And so, like, let's say I'm in Florida in Panama City at a party, and I meet somebody that's from Alabama, and they decided that what I did in Florida was not acceptable and that I violated them. They could then press charges in Alabama because they're from Alabama and I'm from Alabama, even though the crime was committed in Florida. So that's where you have that gray zone.
That's like saying I smoked dope in Colorado. Oh, really? You're in Texas now, pal.
Right.
But I don't have it. It would have to be an extreme case for a prosecutor. There would have to be somebody.
It was a case like that because the woman was actually physically assaulted and she wound up in the hospital in Alabama.
Yeah.
And that's why they wound up pressing the charges.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean. It's an extreme kind of situation where she might not know that she was hurt. She might say she had internal injuries. She hops on a plane, keels over at the airport.
Right.
Makes it to the hospital. What happened? I was beaten up in Florida. I did this in Florida. Oh, really?
Right. And so it becomes a whole air of litigation.
The crime is kind of a continuous motion in that kind of situation, in that it's traveling.
Correct.
The incident's not over, because of the hospitalization.
I find this fascinating. We talked about castration, bra fitting, the dominatrix world, and it's fascinating. And what's interesting is that we talked about it without. Let me put it this way: there's ways of talking about this kind of stuff that make you feel like you need to go take a shower when you're done. But this is just a positive way of talking about it, and it's rational. We're using our heads here. I mean, I find it fascinating, and it's an intelligent conversation. And we learned a little something about Terry tonight.
No knives.
I pulled up the book, Terry. You see it?
Oh,
yeah.
Good. Yes.
Yeah, Jay Wiseman's book. I'm gonna order it and learn something.
It is well worth a read. It's a very, very good read. And even if
it sounds interesting.
Yeah. Even for vanilla people that want to like spice up their marriage.
What's vanilla mean? What's that mean?
Vanilla is basic, normal society. Vanilla means it's not spicy. It's not
traditional. It's traditional.
Thank you.
That's kind of another way of saying white bread.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vanilla is more your missionary. And then that's pretty much it. Whereas the BDSM and the whole entire alternate runs the whole gamut of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Terry, I left an email in there for you, and I want to get your pricing and booking and all that stuff. But I want to say this is not how I wanted to broach this subject with George, but I'm glad we did it this way because I don't feel alone. And it makes me feel hopeful about my new relationship as we go forward. And it's given me some research to do and some things to talk about with him so that we're both on the same, walking step together.
And that's what's really critical. And that's what's really important, because the more communication you have, the better your relationship is going to be. And then discovering little things. But yeah, you put your email, because I'll send you an email link too.
Okay.
And because I definitely want to talk to you, because there's some tricks I know to help men with like erectile dysfunction and stuff. That it's basically just a string. So instead of Viagra, you can actually have, good male performance with just a string.
See, so many techniques. I can't wait to talk to you. I can't wait to talk to you. Thank you, George. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, the string. Yes, Ian?
Yeah, I came in this whole stream kind of late, but I don't know if you touched on it before. How do you think social media platforms like Instagram and OnlyFans have played? Do you think it's helped more or hindered the whole BDSM? Because I really don't know anything about the BDSM realm. I mean, I've heard of it, but
right. I would say that Madonna did more for promoting it back in the 90s with textbook and everything else. With
I had no idea.
Okay. Yeah, with Instagram, it's starting to become more on there. On TikTok, if you type in kink on TikTok, there's some people on there doing some videos on there to try to explain stuff. They're not. It's more sensationalizing it than it is actually education of it right now. And that's the hard part. Like, I've been going to conferences around the world, God, for 30 years now, giving presentations.
A BDSM conference?
Oh, yes.
Holy cow. Forget these men's conferences, man. Forget that.
Oh,
the heck with that.
And I can
sorry guys.
Yeah. I've been to conferences all around the world. Australia, London, Germany has got some great conferences. What is
I think I'm going to start my own conference called the 69 Convention.
That's a different one. That'll be for the swingers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's already 69 conventions out there, and those are the swinger ones.
Oh boy. All right, so I'm late to the game on that one. Okay.
Sorry, George. This has been going on since Greek times.
Oh boy. Now, Ian Broderick has been very quiet. You need to unmute that mic and speak.
Hey, how you doing?
So what are your thoughts about all this, Ian?
It's not entirely new to me.
Ah, look at that.
I'm just not used to. It's not something I'm very used to talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially after working on a car for like 8 hours. It's not something that you expect to talk about.
And not in polite conversation. I get that totally. It's like, mixed conversation.
Yeah.
I totally get, and I understand anybody that's uncomfortable. I'm not trying to make people uncomfortable here.
It doesn't make me uncomfortable. It's just not something I was expecting. You know what I mean?
As George said, no one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Exactly.
Right. Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, then we might have to have a show just based upon that and that alone. And what I will do is I will just put like a little news blast on my social media and have people tune in. I think that would be interesting. So, Terry, would you be open to that?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I have no qualms of doing that.
Excellent.
George, can I email you my questionnaire I sent out to men? It's a whole like it asks them all kinds of travels and try, want to try, and all kinds of stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll email that.
Absolutely. Well, folks, we've been on for 3 hours. We covered a lot of topics tonight. And I will tell you, the more we do these talk radio nights, these open forums, the more interesting they get. And, you know, this broke new ground, I think. It really did. It broke new ground. Right? John and I, as like the old guys, were going, oh my gosh. We've been, yeah. So,
look,
but let's do this again. I'm thinking, I remember last week I said I wanted to do Sunday at 6, but I didn't get home from Las Vegas until about midnight. So the Sunday night at 6 didn't work out too well. Anyways, I'm thinking tomorrow night, Sunday night at 6, to come back and maybe continue this topic. And I find it interesting, and man, it went fast.
Yeah.
It went fast.
Yes,
it was funny because I've asked people, how do you do a long stream like that? I don't get it. And wow, it went by fast. So fascinating. Anyways, thank you everybody for popping in. Thank you for your contribution. And to be continued. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good night, everybody. And happy Easter to everybody.
Happy Easter. And yeah, I'll send you my email.
Excellent. All right, everybody. Good night.
Ciao, Bella.